As I picked myself up, all I could hear was the ceaseless drone of traffic. Life went on around me, but the explosion was to change my life forever. As I picked myself up, all I could hear was the ceaseless drone of traffic. Life went on around me, but the explosion was to change my life forever. I examined the jagged glass remaining in the window. It was broken, all right. I tried not to meet his stare as I searched the dead man's pockets. No wallet, no papers, no credit cards. The guy's past was a blank page.
Oh, my head. Never again. How much vodka did I drink? Oh, no, don't tell me. What is your name, Sherry?
George Stobart, ma'am.
Oh, American.
She asked the question quite innocently, but I could sense her reserve. It was something which seemed to afflict all Europeans. You look like you could use a little help.
I could use a little drink. I feel sick, dizzy, and bruised. I don't even remember the party.
Just relax and take it easy. You've been knocked out.
You don't say. What happened?
There's been an explosion. You should try not to move.
Are you a doctor?
No, but I used to play hospitals when I was a kid. Can you remember anything at all?
No. I need a drink. Pour me a brandy.
Is that straight or with ice?
Just give me the bottle with a teat on it.
I guess a little drop won't hurt.
That's better.
She knocked back the brandy as if it was water. I was glad I wasn't picking up the check.
What about the old man? Is he dead?
Yes, he is.
Oh, mon Dieu. I've never seen a real-life corpse before, except for Grandmaman. That was different. She was family. Has he gone stiff?
I shouldn't think so. He's only been dead a few minutes. Did you know the old man?
No, monsieur. I never saw him before.
Do you remember what happened when the clown entered?
I remember that all about tune he played all right. It was like a funeral dirge.
I'd never liked accordion music either. Stay here, mademoiselle. I'm going to look around for evidence. I considered climbing the lamppost, but it wasn't going to shed any light on the affair. The leading article referred to the visit of a Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state. That was the only news story. The rest was rumor, gossip, and sensationalism. Then I noticed the writing at the foot of the page. It read Salah ad-Din, 1345.
Freeze! Hold it, right there.
Oh, don't shoot. I'm innocent. I'm an American.
Can't make up your mind, huh?
I demand to see the American consul.
Drop your weapons and get down on the ground.
Put that thing away, Sergeant Moo. I apologize, monsieur, but I cannot permit you to leave.
Am I under arrest?
Ah, no, I would simply like to ask you some questions. En avant, to the café, marche. What a mess. This bombing is an outrage, is it not?
Stop that, monsieur. Stop holding your breath at once.
Has it occurred to you that he may be dead, Moo?
Oui, monsieur, but I prefer to look on the bright side. Besides, I recall a case where the killer escaped by feigning death. However, in this case, the man is quite dead. Clearly, the killer knew of his presence and...
How many times have I warned you about premature extrapolation? All we know is that he is dead.
It seemed reasonable to assume...
A great detective assumes nothing. Take Maigret, for instance.
But he was a fictitious character, monsieur. Why, he was no more real than Poirot or Tintin.
That's different, Moo. They were comedy Belgians. Anyway, it is unlikely that even you will learn much from talking to the dead. Examine the girl and take her statement, if you can.
I doubt if she is in a fit state for questioning, monsieur. It smells to me as if she has been drinking.
As I feared, we have stumbled upon a den of iniquity, Moo.
Leave her to me, sir. I am used to handling drunken women.
I do not doubt that for one moment. Et maintenant, to business. Your name, please?
George Stobart. I'm from California.
And what brings you to Paris, Monsieur Stobart?
Travel. I'm touring Europe.
You chose well. The city is most beautiful at this time of year, no?
Yeah, I guess so, apart from the bomb blasts.
Were you in the vicinity of the cafe at the time of the explosion?
Yeah, I was sitting out on the sidewalk. I was lucky I wasn't killed. The inspector passed over my remark with no reaction.
Did you see the deceased enter the cafe?
Yes, I did.
Was he alone?
Yeah.
And did he say anything to you?
No, he was more interested in the waitress.
Did you see anyone else in the cafe?
Yeah, there was a guy dressed as a clown. He was carrying an accordion.
An accordion? Bon, the picture is forming in my mind, and it is not a pretty one. Is the girl all right, Moo?
She'll live if she survives the hangover. She doesn't remember seeing a clown, monsieur.
That's odd, don't you think, monsieur? Who am I to believe, I wonder? Eh bien, I have heard enough.
What do you mean?
I am satisfied that you know nothing. You may leave. I hope this little incident does not spoil the rest of your vacation.
What about my personal safety? Can't you at least give me some advice?
What can I say? Stay alert and look out for suspicious characters.
And don't cross the road until the little man shows green.
Great advice.
I honestly believe you are in no danger, monsieur. Should you remember anything of importance, please contact me. My card.
Thanks.
That is all. You may go.
There's not much to go on, monsieur.
On the surface, no. But what lurks inside the subconscious? If the door can only be opened,
Are you serious, monsieur? I thought your interest in psychic detection was purely academic.
Academic? You are about to witness a scientific breakthrough.
Excuse me, mademoiselle? Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Oh, an American by the sound of it.
Yeah, that's right, on holiday in Paris. Some holiday, huh?
You were here when the bomb went off?
Sure was. Sat right out front of the cafe.
Did you notice a middle-aged man, maybe 60, with an hat and overcoat?
I couldn't believe it. She hadn't even asked how I was feeling. Yeah, he went inside just before the bomb exploded. You weren't related to him, were you?
Oh no, nothing like that. I am Nicole Collard from La Liberté.
What's that, some kind of nightclub?
No, it is a newspaper.
You're a reporter?
I'm a freelance photojournalist.
Say, you can interview me about the bombing. You know, an eyewitness account. Minutes after the outrage that shook the whole of Paris. You know, real-life drama, human interest, that kind of stuff.
I'll just stick to the facts, thank you. Did you see who planted the bomb?
I know it sounds crazy, but he was dressed like a clown.
Oh God, it's him again.
Have you met the clown before?
It's a long story.
I have plenty of time.
I don't.
Who's the guy you were supposed to meet?
His name was Planter. I didn't know him, but he called me last night. He said he had a story which would interest me. He asked me to meet him at the cafe. I guess I'll never know what he wanted to tell me.
Not unless you have Rosso's gift for psychic interrogation. Do you know a police officer called Rosso?
Rosso? Our paths have a knack of crossing. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was deliberate. Have you seen Rosso? Is he here?
He's inside, attempting to question a witness with his psychic powers.
What? That guy is weird.
Yeah. You speak very good English for a French girl.
Thanks. You speak very good English for an American.
How did Plantar get your name?
Through the newspaper La Liberté. I'd written an article linking two unsolved murders. One in Italy, the other in Japan. The cases were remarkably similar. A wealthy victim, no apparent motive, and a costumed killer. Plantar said he could supply me with more information.
Rosso didn't blink when I told him about the clown. It's as if he already knew.
That is typical of a cold fish like Rosso. I've seen cheeseburgers with more spunk.
Why won't you tell me about this clown?
Why do you want to get involved?
Because he almost killed me. Isn't that reason enough?
I guess so. Listen, I'll give you my phone number. You help me with my story and I'll let you in on what I know. And let's get one thing straight right now. This is strictly business.
Okay, it's a deal.
I have to go develop these pictures. À bientôt, monsieur.
Fine, I'll, see you soon. Hi, can you spare a few minutes?
I thought you'd been arrested.
No, it was a misunderstanding.
When he pulled that gun, Ka! I thought that was it. Those automatics pack quite a punch, you know?
He made a mistake. He thought I was a terrorist.
You? A terrorist? Ha!
He was only doing his duty, I guess. Did you see an old guy with a briefcase?
Wait, silly old coot. Do you know what he said to me? Work fascinates me, he says. I could watch it all day. Quelle bite. I could have knocked his block off.
Did you see a clown come by this way?
A clown? Like in a circus?
Yeah, with makeup and a big red nose.
Huh! Those guys are funny, aren't they?
Not in my experience.
I love the circus, especially the horses.
You haven't answered my question. Have you seen a clown?
You think I've got time to watch everyone who passes by? Some of us have to work for a living.
I gotta go.
Don't let me keep you. Hey, stop that! Get away from there! What do you think you're doing?
I was admiring your toolbox.
Oh, wait? Had a good look, have you? I'm warning you, if you touch it, I'll crack your nut.
Okay, I get your point. Hey, you!
What do you want now?
Would you like to read my newspaper?
I haven't got time to read that. Can't you see I'm busy?
You could read it on your lunch break.
10 minutes is all I get. And if my boss had his way, I wouldn't get that. He'd have me on a drip, so I didn't have to stop to eat.
Oh, take the newspaper and quit complaining.
Pah! Look at this! Damn bleeding heart liberals! Tcha! Save the dolphins! Catch them and eat them, I say! All that fuss over a bunch of fish! Nah, that's more like it! Look at the size of those! Like champagne bottle corks, no? Ah, what's this? Saladin running in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe!
It's a racehorse?
A horse? A legend! Bucephalus reborn, mon ami! Like a streak of lightning, she is! Do me a favor, won't you? Keep an eye on my hole. I'm off to put some money on that nag.
What about your toolbox?
Stuff it. Help yourself.
I found a T-shaped tool in the box. I didn't know what it was, but it looked useful.
Bonjour, Kula.
Oh, hi. It's George Stobart, the American at the cafe.
Ah, oui.
You said to call if I could help.
Have you any news for me?
Well, I haven't had a lot of luck.
You found nothing?
No.
Look, I'm very busy right now. Call me if you have any news, okay?
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
Adieu, monsieur.
Yeah, see ya. It smelled like someone had dumped a truckload of fish in a locker room on a hot summer afternoon. I tried to lift the cover with my fingers, but couldn't gain any leverage. I lifted the cover to reveal what smelt like the entrance to a sewer. As I picked up the plastic ball, I realized it was intended to be worn. It was the clown's red nose. I scooped up the sodden tissue. It was cold and greasy, like breakfast leftovers. I took hold of the scrap of material and unsnagged it from the spike. Hi there.
Hold it right there, you sewer rat. I knew you'd come back. And now I've got you.
What are you talking about?
You're trespassing. Come out of there, immediately.
That's what I'm trying to do. Give me your hand.
Ha! You won't catch me with tricks like that. Keep your distance, monsieur.
Okay.
Now, what were you looking for?
I was looking for a clown.
Ridiculous. Do you really expect me to believe that?
He planted a bomb in the cafe and blew it up.
What? The cafe? Blown up? Mon Dieu. That is awful. And you say the person responsible was dressed as a clown?
That's right. He blew up the cafe, escaped into the sewer, changed his clothes, and came up here.
Ah, mon Dieu! Then, the man I chased, do you think that man and the clown are one and the same?
Well, yes, it had crossed my mind.
Ah, that still does not explain what you are doing down the sewer. For all I know, you are in league with him.
Oh no, I'm just a tourist.
Haha, most tourists are content with the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, or the Pigalle. I didn't realize my waste pipes were such an attraction.
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. Who is he?
The man who was killed in the cafe. I'm gonna find the guy responsible. I'll find him. Even if it means following him down every sewer in every city in Europe.
Ah, you need some sensible boots. You won't get far in those stupid sneakers.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
Oh, she isn't hurt, is she?
No, she's fine.
Oh, thank heavens. A poor girl like her isn't safe with the likes of you roaming the streets.
Can't you understand? I'm not a gangster. I'm an American tourist.
Ah, that's what you say.
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
Well, I didn't notice. Now are you going to leave? Or do I have to call the police?
Perhaps you'd like to take a look at my card?
Mm-hmm. What is this? Inspector Augustin Rousseau? What does that say? Hominoid Division?
A homicide. I think the ink's smudged.
Mm-hmm. Then you are not a tourist.
Okay, I'm not. I lied to you. And I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, monsieur. You know, I had a feeling there was something different about you. It is your posture, your poise. Oh, yes. There is no mistaking the bearing of a disciplined man. And I should know. I was in the army, you know. When I was your age, I was fighting for my life in the African desert. How can I help you, Inspector?
Let's start over from the beginning and tell it just like it was. Tell me about the man you apprehended.
He was a mean one, monsieur. He grabbed me in an armlock, his face suddenly next to mine. His grip was like iron, but he did not know what he was up against. Oh no, he made a big mistake when he took on one of the desert hyenas.
Yes, I get the picture. Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
So you don't want to hear about my experiences in the desert? I fought to make this country what it is today.
I'm sure you did, but I'm a little short of time. Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
Why, yes, it was. Clutched in his arms like a baby.
That belonged to his victim.
Oh, what do you think was in it? Drugs? Stolen jewels?
I don't know, but the killer thought it was worth a man's life.
Nothing is worth that, monsieur.
Does this piece of material mean anything to you?
Ah, that is the same cloth as the jacket I found. I'd recognize that pattern anywhere.
Now, about the jacket you found. Do you have it here?
No, monsieur. One of the sleeves was badly torn, so I sent it for repair. A pity, because otherwise it was a fine piece of quality tailoring. It had the tailor's name inside on the label.
Where did you send the jacket?
I gave it to an itinerant Romany seamstress.
Just my luck. Was there anything in the jacket pockets?
Not a sou. You know what I think?
Do tell me.
He changed out of the clown suit and cunningly disguised himself as an ordinary person.
Looks like I'm up against a mastermind. What was the name on the label?
Ah, it was a foreign name. Todrick, I think.
Did you get the address?
There wasn't one, monsieur. Only a telephone number.
Well, I don't expect you to remember a phone number you've only seen once.
74 98 08 59.
You're kidding. That's his phone number?
Yes, that's it. A little secret number that I learned in the desert. I was taught the technique by a Tuareg shaman.
That's incredible.
It comes in handy at the supermarket checkout. Do I get a reward?
Honesty, monsieur, is its own reward.
Then I'm glad I do not rely on honesty to pay the bills.
I have to be going. Thanks to your help, the citizens of Paris can sleep a little easier tonight.
Vraiment? I was only doing my duty, monsieur. Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon. I'll let you out. I hope you find your man, Inspector.
So do I. Sergeant Moo?
You heard the inspector. Go on, monsieur.
Did you find the victim's briefcase yet?
No, sir. The inspector gave me specific instructions to guard this door. Until he countermands these orders or backup arrives, here I stay.
I really did see the clown. He ran into the alley across the street.
Did you follow him?
I lost him. I figured he went underground.
Do you know how many kilometers of sewers there are beneath this great city?
It's not a question I've lost sleep over.
I have no doubt that Inspector Rousseau will organize a proper search.
I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No, he just grinned and nodded.
Don't let it trouble you, monsieur. Go home and try to forget.
How did you and Rosso arrive at the scene of the explosion so quickly? You arrived within minutes. Was it a tip-off?
Inspector Rosso's sources are a perpetual mystery to me, monsieur. There are some who say he has made a pact with the devil.
And what do you think?
I think he is the devil.
See you later, Sergeant. The tape.
Bonjour, Kula.
It's me again, George Stobart.
Hi, George. Any news?
You bet. I met a witness who spoke to the clown. And I know where the killer gets his suits.
No kidding. Hey, I'm impressed.
You are? Well, it wasn't easy.
Look, why don't you come here to my apartment?
Fine. Where do you live?
361 Rue Jarry.
Okay, I'll come right over. Same amount of money would feed a starving family for the rest of their lives. I guess people who buy that kind of stuff don't have a problem with their consciences. Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good, and it only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to. Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Well, thanks for telling me. Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me, in the apartment block across the street. The door isn't locked, but you'll need to give it a gentle nudge. It sticks, you see, because of the damp. The landlord said he'd fixed it before winter sets in. He's been saying that for 3 years.
I've changed my mind. Will you tell my fortune?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know?
10 francs, please, my dear.
10 francs? That's a ripoff.
Please yourself?
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers beneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck! Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
I took my photographs to the editor, but he wasn't interested. Can you believe it? He told me to drop the story.
But you're not about to do that.
Oh no! I am going to find out what's behind these killings. You know what I think? It's a conspiracy. The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone. Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it! Millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off.
Was he killed for his money?
No. He had no living relatives, and his fortune went to the orphanage where he'd grown up. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks.
Hello? Who is this?
Hi, my name's George Stobart. You don't know me.
Correct, Mr. Stobart. I don't. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm trying to trace one of your customers. Could I maybe come over and talk to you?
No, that's not possible.
Oh, okay. Forget it. Listen, all I want is a name.
What are you talking about? Who are you working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth and justice.
Thank God. I thought you were the police.
There are innocent lives at stake, Mr. Todrick. Lives that you could save.
You're collecting for charity, yes?
No, I'm not. All I want from you is information.
Go on. I'm listening.
What do you know about the clown who bombed the Café de la Chandelle Verte?
I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
You're cool, Todrick. But I think you know more than you're saying.
I don't know who you be, but sure I am you don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if you're saying that to make me think you don't know what I mean, but... Oh, this is ridiculous. Quit playing games with me, Todrick.
I tell you, I know nothing about no clown.
Do you know a guy called Templar?
No, I never heard of him.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick. I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Why don't you put it on, George?
No way am I wearing this. I'd look really stupid. Besides, you might have had a cold. I'd better be going.
Thanks for coming, Monsieur Stobart.
Call me George, and it was my pleasure. If I track down the clown, I'll let you know. Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
The clown I'm looking for is a cold-blooded killer. Give me his name, and I'll see he's brought to justice.
I'd help you if I could, but you can't expect me to remember all my customers. You see, the clown costume is our most popular line, monsieur. On average, we hire out more than 30 clown suits a week. You'll have to give me more to go by. A description, perhaps?
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Have you heard of a man named Plantar?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
Do you recognize this cloth?
Oui.
You do?
Mais oui, I served a man wearing a suit made from the same material.
Do you remember his name?
No?
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Hi, it's me again.
So I see.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks.
Hello? Who is this?
Mr. Todrick?
Oh, it's you again. What now?
Did you know that one of your customers was a part-time clown?
If a guy feels happy with a funny nose and custard down his pants, what's the problem?
Shall I tell you what happened to Plantar? How he was killed in cold blood?
I told you, I never heard of Plantar.
I expect Plantar's a family man, don't you? In their little apartment, Madame Plantar is cooking the supper, listening for the familiar sound of her husband's key in the door. Junior is waiting for his daddy to come home from work. He can't wait to show him the merit marks he earned in school today. Only tonight, Monsieur Plantar won't be coming home.
You forgot the puppy.
Huh?
The faithful puppy dog, waiting for the sound of his master's voice.
Well, maybe they don't have a dog. What do you think?
I don't know Plantar. I never heard of Plantar. None of this has anything to do with me.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick. What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese green politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium. He was committed to dismantling Japan's automobile industry.
I can't see him gaining much support with a loony policy like that.
Yamada was a man of vision. He was years ahead of his time.
If you say so. How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say, flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown. You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you what, I won't be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance of a big break.
Or a premature death. The guy at the novelty shop gave me this.
What is it?
A hand buzzer. You put it in your hand and give people electric shocks.
Why?
It's a gag. A practical joke.
If you ever use it on me, I'll break your arm.
Okay. I get the picture. I'd better be going.
Thanks for coming, Monsieur Stobart.
Call me George, and it was my pleasure. If I track down the clown, I'll let you know. Sergeant Moo?
Please go away, monsieur.
I've tracked down the clown's movements, Sergeant.
Is that so, monsieur?
Yeah. There's a man down the street who saw him crawling out of the sewer.
Dressed as a clown?
No, he'd changed into ordinary clothes by then.
So, how did he know it was the clown?
He didn't, but all the clues add up.
Little children can add up, but I wouldn't let them manage my bank account.
I know the identity of the dead guy. His name was Plantar.
Is that so? You knew him, did you?
No, but
We'll know everything there is to know about him soon enough.
I'm trying to be helpful here.
The best way you can help us is to go home, monsieur.
What is Rosso doing with that girl?
He is giving her the once-over, as you Americans say.
Huh?
Once he gets his teeth into a case, nothing will shake him off.
Was he serious about all that psycho-detective stuff?
Of course. Inspector Rosso is a pioneer and a visionary. His revolutionary methods, once perfected, may change the face of law enforcement forever.
I can't see it taking off in L.A. Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
I found this red nose in the sewer.
What were you doing down there?
Fishing for clues. That's where the clown went.
You still insist you saw a clown, monsieur?
Of course. And this novelty nose proves it.
It will take more than a plastic proboscis to convince Inspector Rousseau.
You don't want this as evidence, then?
Certainly not, monsieur.
I believe this material came from the clown's clothing.
If you are right, monsieur, then the clown must be an Englishman.
Well, how do you figure that?
Only the English would wear a suit made from material like that.
Don't you like the English?
It is not so much a question of liking, rather one of taste. They have none.
Do you recognize this dirty tissue?
No, monsieur, I do not.
I found it in the sewer.
Perhaps it would be better if you put it back there.
No way! This could be an important clue.
If you say so, monsieur.
See you later, Sergeant. Hi there, remember me?
Ah, mais oui, Inspector. Have you found him?
Who?
The man in the sewer, of course.
I'm, sifting through the evidence.
Rather you than me, monsieur. So, when you are not exploring sewers, what do you do?
I take a lot of showers.
Oh, very good, monsieur. A policeman with a sense of humor.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
You can't suspect her, surely.
Just answer the question, please.
Yes, I know her. Quite well, you could say. She came to work at the cafe 6, 7 months ago. I look forward all week to the relief she gives me when she visits.
Really? So you'd miss her if she wasn't there?
Oh, mais oui! Who else would I find to cut my toenails?
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur. It's disgusting. What on earth possessed you to show it to me? Someone had emptied their nostrils into it.
That's theatrical grease paint. Shake my hand. Go on, shake it.
You're joking, aren't you? Nothing personal, but you've been mucking about down the sewer.
I have to be going.
Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
Bonjour, monsieur. How's your girlfriend?
She's not my girlfriend.
Maybe not yet. But I see your paths entwined in the future.
I doubt it. I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
What can you tell me about this material?
It's a very expensive piece of cloth, monsieur.
What can you tell me about this tissue?
Nothing?
Would you like to shake my hand?
No, I wouldn't. I can see the future, remember?
Do you recognize this nose?
No, monsieur.
What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity.
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat. How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Hi, it's me again.
So I see.
I found a piece of... When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, George, it's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh no?
Take a close look at his left cheek.
A scar. In the shape of a horseshoe.
Oh, a crescent moon.
Tell me more about yourself.
Oh, there is not much to tell.
Well, how did you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought my first camera. I was 8 and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes, my mother went off with her new boyfriend. I don't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Ah, I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really, always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted I should study art. That's why I went to college.
Did you learn about photography at college?
Oh, God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used, paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Do you have a boyfriend?
That's none of your business.
I'm going back out to search for that clown.
Where?
I could go back to the costume shop. Or maybe I should go look for Rosso.
Let me know if you find anything.
I will. Excuse me.
Oui, monsieur?
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. He chose 2 costumes, Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur.
Salut, George. What news?
I've been to the costume shop.
Yeah, I like it. What are you supposed to be?
I didn't hire a costume. These are my clothes and you know it.
Did you ask about the clown?
Yeah. He used the name Khan. He hired 2 costumes, the clown and a pixie.
Then we're one jump ahead of him.
How do you make that out?
He probably plans to use the pixie suit next time he kills.
Oh, God, don't let it be me. I don't deserve to die at the hands of a pixie.
Don't be silly, George. That won't happen.
Oh, no?
No, because every time you see a pixie, you're going to run like hell.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clown's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The 2nd week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks.
Hello? Who is this?
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel, the Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room. It was upstairs, the 2nd room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. getting somewhere. Do you know the Hotel Ubu?
The Ubu? Yes, I do.
That's where the clown stayed.
Good work, George.
See you later.
Where are you going now?
I could go hang out at the Hotel Ubu.
Watch out for Khan, George.
Don't worry, I will. Excuse me.
Yes?
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and
I told you, I don't know it.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be funny?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No, that name means nothing to me.
Forget it. Excuse me.
Yeah?
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
I've seen daytime television that was funnier.
I love it when the little guys get hype.
That figures.
Custard pies, hose pipe down the pants, then smack! A plank in the kisser.
You ever meet a guy called Plantar?
No, I ain't.
You missed your chance. If you're quick, you'll catch him at the coroner's. Do you happen to know a guy named Khan?
That ain't nobody I know.
I'm sorry to be a burden on your brain. Shake my hand.
Nah.
Oh, rats. See you later.
Not if you see me first.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest.
I have to go, ma'am. No way. I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
Can you tell me which room the man in the photograph has taken?
Oh, no, monsieur. That information is confidential.
Would it make a difference if I told you the guy in the photo was a murderer?
We are accustomed to catering for celebrities, monsieur. Movie stars, politicians, royalty, sporting personalities, they all stay here.
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, you did, monsieur.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his left cheek.
Raymond? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
Thanks for your help, buddy. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
I'm a detective. We do these things.
Now you're being ridiculous. If you can't supply me with a plausible explanation, I'm not interested.
I really need that key bad.
I'm not convinced I should help you, darling.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stewart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hempstead. That was until last night.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
And that's why you want the key?
Yes, ma'am.
I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case. But a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say! You there! Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. There was nothing in the pockets of the pants. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. I couldn't believe my luck when I found 2 items in the pockets of the pants. The first was an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. The second was a pass card which read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
What now, monsieur?
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe I can live with that.
Thanks for your help, buddy. I figured the lady at the keys wouldn't appreciate a duet with a musical illiterate like me. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am. I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has 1,000,000 faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers. But he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but...
What's the problem?
He isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment. If I wanted my shins sticking out of my shoulders, I could have jumped. Mama Stillbart didn't raise those suicidal feelings. I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check, nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Greedo were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible! Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh yeah, maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping. Think about it, George. One guy's already died for it, as you said yourself. Besides, that parchment is fragile.
Okay, I'm convinced. You keep hold of it. Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lochmarne.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lochmarne guy?
At the Crown Museum. I'll give you the address.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the Wicked Queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. A knight with a crystal ball. And there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. Maybe I'll check out the Kroon Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lochmarne?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lochmarne does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar, not like Monsieur Lobineau.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
Thanks for your help. In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Lochmarne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. Pardon me?
Oui, monsieur?
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century, the Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology. Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Thanks for your help. The tripod was definitely the one on the manuscript. The Templar connection confirmed it. I was tempted to go to Ireland to check it out.
Hi, George.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Lochmarne.
I have heard of Lochmarne. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine? You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Lochmarne. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a 4th series of his popular television program. This site at Lochmarne must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's Dam is important, why don't you visit Lochmarne?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly? What do you know about Professor Pegram?
I've seen a television program, Pegram's Past. He's written a book, The Crusader Families of Ireland.
I'll bet he'd be interested in the manuscript. Let's take another look at them. That's the tripod in the Crew Museum. I'll see you later.
Okay. Keep me informed if you find anything new.
Several hours later, I arrived in Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I'd been lucky to get a bus from Dublin to the tiny village of Lochmarne. On the way out, the driver told me there was only one service a day.
Remarkably similar. A wealthy victim, no apparent motive, and a costumed killer. Plantaz said he could supply me with more information.
Rosso didn't blink when I told him about the clown. It's as if he already knew.
That is typical of a cold fish like Russell.
Hi there.
I've seen cheeseburgers with more spunk.
What's your name, kid? Why won't you tell me about this clown?
Why do you want to get involved?
Because he almost killed me. Isn't that reason enough? I'm George Stobart, and I'm with the good guys.
I'll give you my phone number.
You're a head case, mister. A few sandwiches short of a picnic.
You help me with my story, and I'll let you in on what I know. And let's get one thing straight right now. This is strictly business.
Okay, it's a deal.
I have to go develop these pictures.
Why? Did you do something bad? Fine, I'll see you soon.
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine.
Hi, can you spare a few minutes?
Father Mahoney
I thought you'd been arrested.
No, it was a misunderstanding.
When he pulled that gun,
but I took the pennies
I
he
thought
gave
that
me
was
back
it.
home.
Those automatics
Look,
were quite a punch, you know?
He made a mistake. He thought I was a terrorist.
Earned with his
You?
own sweat and
A
blood.
terrorist?
When suddenly
He was only
me
doing his
dad
duty, I
appears
guess.
and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin.
Did you see an old guy with a briefcase?
Watch
Wait,
out till I get
silly
back.
old coot. Do you know what he said to
Wild
me?
anyway.
Work
Something with a
fascinates
grin on
me,
his
he
face
says.
told me he
I
wasn't
could
being
watch it all
strictly
day.
truthful.
Can't
Compared to
beat.
him,
I could have
Huckleberry
knocked
Finn
his
was a
block
candidate
off.
for Altar Boy of the Year. Did you see
Have
a
you
clown
seen a
come
guy
by this
dressed
way?
as
A clown?
Here in Lochmarne?
Like in a
They all dress
circus?
like
Yeah,
clowns.
with makeup. The man
and a big
I'm
red
looking
nose.
for is a dangerous
Oh,
psychotic.
Those guys are funny, aren't they?
It's just like
Not
that
in
film
my
I saw.
experience.
There's this
I
clown
love the
system.
circus,
He's
especially
after this
the
kid who
horses.
saw
You
him
haven't
kill a
answered
guy.
my question.
He tries to
Have
warn
you
the
seen a
sheriff.
clown?
Only
You
no
think
one
I've got
believes him.
time to watch everyone who passes
While he's in
by?
the tub,
Some of us
the
have to
clown
work for a
cuts him
living.
up with a chainsaw.
I gotta God. go.
Don't
That
let
doesn't
me
sound
keep
suitable
you.
for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Hey,
Yeah,
stop
right.
that!
You're
Get
not a
away
day
from
over
there!
14.
Oh no, it's
What do you
25
think
that
you're
I
doing?
I was
am. Married with a car
admiring
and 3
your
kids.
toolbox.
10 kids if
Oh,
you
eh?
count the wife.
Had a good look, have you? I'm warning
What
you.
can you tell me
if
about
you
the
touch
castle,
it, I'll
McGuire?
crack your
What do
nut.
you want to know?
Well, can I get inside? Okay,
No.
I get your point.
It's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No. Only.
What? Hey, you!
Oh, nothing.
What do you want now?
You know something
Would you
about
like
the
to read my
castle. You're not
newspaper?
telling me, don't you?
No.
I
What is it
haven't
you're
got
covering
time
up?
to read that.
Is something you're
Can't
scared
you
of?
see I'm busy?
You could
I
read it on
ain't
your lunch
scared
break.
of nothing.
10 minutes is all I get. And
I'll
if
give
my
you
boss
one
had his
last
way,
chance to
I
tell me
wouldn't
about the
get that.
castle.
He'd
Oh,
have me on
yeah?
a drip, so I
And
didn't
what
have
if
to
I
stop to
don't?
eat.
Oh, take the
I'm
newspaper
taking
and quit
you back to
complaining.
school.
Oh, there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom
Look at
of
this.
Lochmarne.
Damn bleeding out liberals!
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts,
Save
are
the
you?
dolphins!
Mister, I've
Catch
seen
them
it with
and
me
eat
very
them,
own
I
eyes.
say. All that
Last
fuss
Tuesday
over a bunch
I
of
went
fish!
up to see what that dig was
That's
about.
more like it!
I just reached
Look
the
at
top
the
of the
size
wall
of those!
when I
Like
hears
champagne
this
bottle
awful
corks,
noise.
no?
What sort
what's
of
this?
noise?
Saladin
Horrible
running
snuffling
in
and
the Prix
snorting,
de l'Arc de
like
Triomphe!
O'Brien's
It's a racehorse?
pig,
A
or the
horse?
worst.
A legend!
It was coming.
Bucephalus reborn, mon ami! Like a streak of lightning she is!
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty.
Do me a favor, won't you?
Greasy like
Keep
old
an eye
dinner
on my
plate.
hole.
The
I'm
yard
off to
was
put
full
some
of
money
shadows.
on
I
that
couldn't
night.
hide anything.
What about your
I would have
toolbox?
gone home.
Stuff
but
it.
my legs had lost
Help
their
yourself.
stuffing.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey
I found a T-shirt
and tattered and
I
hunched
didn't know what it
over
was,
like an
but it looked
old
useful.
bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared.
Bonjour,
Fell off the bloody wall.
Oh, hi. I'm George Stobart, the American at the cafe. Saw at the cafe.
Ah, oui.
There is. The bloody
You
place
said
is
to call
haunted.
if I could help.
Have you any news for me?
Do you know a man
Well,
called
I
Pegram?
haven't had a lot
Can
of
you
luck.
describe him
You
like
found
on the
nothing?
telly in the coffee shops?
No. He's an English
Look, I'm very
archaeologist.
busy right now.
I know the man you
Call
mean
me
he's
if
the
you have
one.
any news, okay?
Oh, can you tell me where
Yeah,
I'd find
I guess.
Pegram?
Adieu,
No, I
monsieur.
can't because he's
Yeah,
not here
see
now.
ya.
But if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure, jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
Do you know anything about Pegram's dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off. I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram bought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarne would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
What does this Fitzgerald guy look like?
Big head, big ears, and face irons.
It smelled
What?
like someone
You
had dumped a
know,
truckload of
specky
fish in a
taters,
locker room on a hot summer afternoon.
Glasses. He's blind as a bat without him.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
I tried to lift the cover with my fingers, but couldn't gain any leverage. Mr. Fitzgerald? What? I need to speak with you urgently. I lifted the cover to reveal what smelt like the entrance to a sewer.
What's the problem?
What can you tell me about the castle?
There's nothing there. Just an old ruin.
How old?
I really couldn't tell you.
Have you ever explored the castle yourself?
I used to play there sometimes, when I was a kid. Then one of the little ones fell off the wall, broke his head and died. We didn't go there anymore.
As I picked up... You haven't been up there recently?
No.
I realized it was intended to be warm. Do you know Professor Pegram? It was the clown's red nose.
He's the archaeologist, isn't he?
That's right. Where can I find Professor Pegram?
I heard he's gone fishing. I don't know where.
Did you work at Professor Pegram's dig? I scooped up the sodden
What gave you that idea?
It was cold. McGuire says he did.
You don't
Like
believe that damn
breakfast
food can be you?
leftovers. Why not?
Probation officer could tell you a tale or two.
Have you heard about the gem which Pegram found?
There's a room.
I took hold of the scrap
believe
material
everything you
and
hear or
unsnagged
see,
it from
can
the
you?
spike. Can I get you another drink?
Oh, no, thank you. I shouldn't be drinking at all. I'm on tablets from a nurse. More than a pint.
Hi
and I'll
there.
pass out.
Hold it right there. You
See you
swell
later.
rat. I knew you'd come back. and now I've got you.
What are you talking about?
You're trespassing. Come
Hi,
out of
my name's
immediate.
Stobart. George Stobart. That's what I'm trying to do.
Hello there, mister.
Give me your hand.
What can I do for you?
Can you tell
won't
me
catch
anything
with
about the
tricks like
castle on the hill?
Oh, I don't know much about anything. You should ask Mr. O'Brien here.
Keep your
He doesn't
distance,
join that
monsieur.
writing.
Okay.
Would you be one of them
Now,
history fellows, you see?
What were you looking for?
That's right. Professor Stobart. I was
Miskatonic
University.
Huh?
You're an
Ridiculous.
archaeologist.
Do you really
You're asking
expect
us
me
about
to
the
believe
castle.
that?
He planted a bomb in
Excuse
the cafe.
me, Mr. O'Brien. The gentleman was
What?
talking to me.
The cafe? Blown
How
up?
come you didn't leave
Mon
with the
Dieu.
others?
I didn't know they'd
That
gone.
is awful.
Oh, yes.
And you
Packed their
say
spades
the
and
person
shovels and away they
responsible
went.
was dressed
Seems I missed
as
all
a
the excitement.
clown?
What
That's
excitement?
right. Professor
He
P
blew
was
up the
discovery,
cafe,
escaped into the sewer, changed his clothes, and came up here.
No. Mon Dieu. And then...
Do you know
the
anything
man
about
I-
Peagram's
Do
excavation?
you think
Only that he didn't have
man
the
and
right
the clown are...
job. What he
One
needed was
and the
shovels
same.
and a JCB.
Yes, Peagram was digging for historical remains, not coal.
That still does
Is
not
that a
explain
fact?
what you are doing
What the hell
down
for?
the sewer.
It's the science of
All I
archaeology.
know, you are in league.
Understanding
with him.
how people used
Oh
to
no,
live by what
I'm
they
just a
left behind.
tourist.
One day archaeologists
Most
might be
tourists are
digging up
content
our
with
remains.
the Eiffel Tower,
Imagine that,
the
Mr.
Louvre,
O'Brien.
or the Pigalle.
I wonder what
I
they'll
didn't
find.
realize my
Well,
waste
it won't
pipes
be
were
arrowheads
such
and
an
beakers.
attraction.
Fast food cartons and flavored condoms.
Does
more
the name
likely.
Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. Who is
Is it true that Peagram the man found who was a valuable killed in the gem? cafe? I'm gonna
What?
find the guy responsible.
First I heard of
I'll
it.
find it. Even if it means following him down every sewer in every city in Europe.
of every
Ah,
town from
you need
Lochmarne to
some sensible
Ballyhoo.
boots.
Nobody
You
told
won't get
me.
far in those
Lucky
stupid
son.
sneakers.
So that's why he scampered.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
Oh,
Did anyone from the
hurt,
village
is she?
work at Peagram's
No,
day?
she's
fine.
I tried it myself,
thank you, Vance.
but that high and mighty
girl
history
like
man
her
called me
isn't safe with
incontinent.
the likes of you
What a
roaming
nerve.
the streets.
Hadn't I done it?
Can't you
That rest of
understand?
them put
I'm
together.
not a gangster. I'm an American tourist. Do you remember seeing Sean Fitzgerald
That's
at
what
the dig?
you say.
Was the guy you saw
me
carrying
see
a briefcase?
I think
Hey,
the
I
brain
didn't
box
notice.
needs a spot
Now are you
of
going to
lubricate.
leave? Or do I have to call the police?
Can I buy you a drink?
You most certainly
Perhaps
can.
you'd like to take a look at my
Give me a
car?
drink
for my friend here.
Who? Doyle? Has he conned you into buying for him?
What is
Shame on
this?
your path.
Inspector Augustin Rousseau?
Just a point this time, Michael.
Hominoid
One
division?
point of brown
A
coming up.
homicide. I think the ink's smudged.
Then you are not a tourist.
Okay, I'm not. I lied to you. And I'm sorry. Do you remember Sean
Don't
Fitzgerald now?
apologize, monsieur.
I can picture
You
the
know,
scene as if it was only
I had a
last week.
feeling there was something
Come to think of it,
different.
it was only last week.
It is
Fitzgerald was there, all right.
Your
Him
boys.
and a bunch of students.
There is
He
no
was speaking
mistaking
with
the
the
bearing
boss
of
man.
a disciplined man. And I should know.
Bye
I
for
was
now.
in the army. When I was your age, I was fighting for my life in the African desert. How can I help you, Inspector?
Doyle told me you
Let's
start
start
over from the beginning.
You don't
And
believe
tell
him,
it
do you?
just like it was.
Patrick Doyle is a moron and a scoundrel.
Even
Tell me
so,
about the man you
he saw you
apprehended.
talking to Peagram.
You
He
can't
was
prove
a
that,
mean
mister.
one, monsieur. He grabbed me.
See you later.
in the armlock. His face suddenly net mine. His grip was like iron. But he did not know what he was up against. Oh no. He made a big mistake when he took on one of the desert hyenas.
Yes, I get the picture. Does the name Plantar... Hey, McGuire.
No, it doesn't.
What do you want to know?
Do you know the waitress at the cafe? Are you,
So you
sure
don't want to hear
Fitzgerald
about
worked
my
at the dig?
experiences
Oh, yes.
in the desert?
It was him, all
I
right.
got
Would
make
I
this
tell
country
a
what
lie?
it is today.
Well, he denies it. I'm sure you
Saw
did.
them together
but I'm
only
a little
last
short of
night.
time. I wish you'd told me that sooner. Was the
What
guy
were you
you
doing?
saw carrying a
Pegram gave
briefcase?
Fitzy
Why,
a box.
yes, it
He
was.
didn't look too happy
Clutched
about
in his
it.
arms
knew
like
it.
a baby.
That
But how
belongs
am I
to
going
his
to
victim.
persuade
him to
Oh, what do you
Break
think
his
was in
fingers.
it?
No, I couldn't
Drugs,
do that.
Stolen
I
tools.
could.
Thanks for the
I don't
offer,
know.
kid, but I'll try
But
a
the
more
killer
subtle
thought it was
approach.
worth a man's
Chinese
life.
burns?
Nothing is
Do you know
worth
where I
that,
could find
monsieur.
Fitzgerald?
He's inside, but you won't get
Does
no
this piece
sense
of
out
material
of him.
mean
How
anything
come?
to you? Is he drunk?
That is
Like
the
a
same
frightened
cloth as
rabbit.
the jacket
A
I
real
found.
bag of nerves.
I recognize
Why, the
that
fella's
pattern
scared of his own
anywhere.
shadow.
What's
Now,
Fitzgerald
about
scared
the
of?
jacket you found.
Everything and
Do you have
everyone.
it here?
So I shouldn't
No,
have any
monsieur.
trouble getting in the
One of the
car.
sleeves was
He's a
badly
pushover.
torn. So
Don't scare him
already
too much.
there.
Try to
Pity,
soften.
because otherwise
Butter him up a
it
bit.
was a fine piece of quality.
See you later, kid.
It
Okay,
had the
mister.
tailor's name inside on the label.
Where did you send the jacket?
I gave it to an itinerant Romani seamstress.
Just my luck. Was there anything in the jacket pockets?
Not a sou. You know what I think?
Do tell me.
Hello.
He changed out of the clown suit.
McGuire
and
says he
cunningly
saw you
disguised
working
himself
at the
as
shop. What's
an
more, he saw you
ordinary
talking with
person.
Pegram.
Looks like I'm up against a mastermind. What was the name on the label?
It was a fine
I knew
name.
this would happen.
Charge
I
me.
knew I'd get caught.
Did you
Just
get the
my
address?
luck.
There
Grabbed
wasn't
up by a
one.
delinquent and a
Only
dimwit.
a telephone number.
I need to talk
Well,
to
I don't
Professor
expect you to
Pegram.
remember a phone number you've only seen once.
What do you mean?
74,
Is he in danger?
98, 0,
Yeah,
8,
you too, if I'm right.
You're not from the Social
That's his
Security.
phone number?
Hell no. What makes you
That's
think
it.
that?
Well, I was claiming benefits at the same time I was working for Pegram.
I'm not in a
I
position
was
to make
taught the
judgments,
technique.
Sean. That's
by
between
actual
you and your
shit.
conscience.
That's
All I want is to
incredible.
talk to Pegram about the gem.
But he's not here.
I know that. But he left that
Do I
package
get
with
a
you, didn't
reward?
he?
Honesty, monsieur, is its own reward.
What did
And
Pegram
I'm glad I
find
do
at the
not rely on
castle?
honesty.
The entrance to an underground chamber. It was filled with earth and rubble.
I have to be
Pegram
going.
had us dig it
Thanks
out.
to your help,
We uncovered
the
the
citizens
secret
of
room.
Paris can sleep a little easier tonight.
Raymond, I was only doing my duty.
So
monsieur.
where did
Good
Pegram
luck,
go?
Inspector.
I don't
I
know.
hope you catch
I
that
said
killer
it.
soon.
He came to
I'll
see
let
me
you out.
early this morning. Said he was leaving.
I hope you find your man, Inspector.
Yes,
So do
give
I.
this package to a guy called Marquez.
Show me what's in the package, Sean.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I promised the professor.
So what? You didn't have any qualms about your benefit scam. So where's the harm in taking a peek inside Pegram's package?
You don't know these people. I can't. I don't dare.
This is your last chance to show me the package, Fitzgerald. Sergeant
Moon?
I've been patient
You
with
heard the
but now it's
inspector.
time to kick
Go on,
ass.
monsieur.
But he'll kill me.
Who will? Did you
Man
find the
from Paris.
victim's briefcase yet?
Jack Marquez.
No, sir.
Pegram
The
told me
inspector
if
gave
I
me
gave him the
specific
package
instructions to
unopened,
guard this
I'd
door
hear no more about
until
it.
he
But
countermands
if I
these
double
orders
cross
or backup
Marquez,
arrives.
I'd be
Here I
dead.
stand.
I really did. I'll deal with Jacques. He ran into the alley across the street.
Did you follow him?
I lost him. Give the package to me.
Do you know how many kilometers of sewers
Why
there
should I
are beneath
trust
this
you?
great
I
city?
don't know who to
It's
trust
not a
anymore.
question I've lost sleep over.
I
I
wish
have
I'd
no
never
doubt
even
that
heard of the
Inspector
Lochmarne
Rousseau
gem.
will organize a proper search.
I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No.
Hey,
He just
I've
grinned
just seen
and
a
nodded.
big red...
Don't let it trouble you,
Get
monsieur.
out of here, McGuire.
Go home.
Come
and try
back
to
when you're
forget.
old enough.
What's the lad howling about?
How did you and Rosso arrive at the
A
scene
big
of the
red
explosion
sports
so
car.
quickly? You arrived in a
Sean
minute.
Fitzgerald's
Was it a
been
tip-off?
run over.
Inspector Rosso's sources are a perpetual mystery to me, monsieur. There are
Noisy
some
little
who say he has made a pact
You should send out
with
some
the
medicinal
devil.
brandy,
And
mate.
what do you think?
I think
Oh, yes.
he is
And who's going to pay for
the
it?
devil.
Not me.
Me too, neither.
See you later, Sergeant.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here,
The ta-
minding my own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill. Would you look at that, says I, and I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on
It's
the
me
ass.
again, George
But the
Stillbar.
car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and hit him an awful wallop. He goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I thought he was a goner.
Well, it wasn't easy.
Next thing
Why
The
don't you
driver
come
hops
here
out.
to my apartment?
And I couldn't believe my
Where do you
eyes.
live?
361 Rue Jarry.
Okay, I'll come right over.
He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit? It wasn't stylish.
It all happened so fast.
The same amount of
See you
money
later,
would
kid.
feed a starving
Okay, mister.
family for the rest of their lives. I guess people who buy that kind of stuff don't have a problem with their consciences. I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand. Oh, hi!
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good, and it only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future
Hi there,
to look
old
forward
timer.
to. Are the flowers for sale?
Nasty
Oui,
cold
monsieur.
you've got there.
Okay.
As soon as the words left my lips, I
I'll take
regretted
a
them.
bunch of those
Is there
white
such a
ones.
thing as a cold
I
which
wouldn't do
isn't
that
nasty?
if I was
I
you.
put the question to Father
They are
Mahoney.
lilies.
Father, says I,
Some
why were we
people
born to
associate
suffer
them with
snot?
death.
What did he say?
He said it's my
Thanks for
reward
telling
for being out all night like
Do you
a
know a
sinner.
young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs
you
from me,
prig.
in the apartment
Anyway,
block across the street.
This is no
The door
ordinary
isn't
cold.
locked, but you'll
It's
need
the
to
hay
give it a
fever.
gentle
Pollinosis?
nudge.
Thank you.
It sticks, you see.
You're not a policeman, are
Because of
you?
the dam.
Excuse me?
Landlord
Police?
fixed it before winter
No.
sets in.
I'd know it
He's
if you
been
were.
saying that for 3 years.
Do you know Pegram, the archaeologist? I've changed my mind.
That's the scrawny fellow who was poking
You're
around with the
going on
castle,
a
isn't it?
long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise.
No, I don't know him.
Can you tell me anything I don't already know?
10 francs, please.
Do you know where I
my
can
dear.
find Pegram? 10
I
francs?
told you.
That's a
I never
rip-off.
heard of him.
Please yourself.
Were you aware that Pegram was conducting an
That's
archaeological
right,
dig?
monsieur.
I don't
You
meddle
win.
in other people's affairs. They don't interest me.
Can you tell me how to get into the castle?
Don't even think about it, me bucko.
Remembering the flower seller's
Lochmarne
advice,
Castle
I pushed the
is
door gently
haunted.
just above the lock. That's what the kid outside told me, but I don't believe it.
Then you're a fool.
Have you ever seen the ghost?
To be sure. With me very own eyes.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it,
Can you
monsieur.
describe the
Please.
ghost? Call me
It
George.
was horrible.
I'm
A
Nicole.
wee stunted beast.
Take a seat, George.
Long beak, straggly, flappy wings.
Are you sure it wasn't a wild animal? A rabbit or a skunk or
Eh
something?
bien?
Skunk.
And what have you been
In
up to?
Lochmarne?
I've been
That'll
exploring
be
the
the day.
sewers beneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown
No,
used the sewer to
that
escape
was a
and
ghost,
to change
to
out
be
of his
sure.
costume. I guess he was in a hurry.
Ghosts don't
he left
bother
his
me.
jacket behind. I still
And?
want to visit that
I got his
castle.
tailor's
You
phone
can't.
number.
It's not
You had
open to
better
the
luck than I
public.
did.
There's no one around
Luck,
to stop
she
me,
said.
is there?
Luck.
That's right.
Hard work,
Nothing
I call it.
human,
What happened?
anyhow.
I took my photographs to the editor,
Can I buy
but he
you a
wasn't
beer?
interested.
Very kind, I'm sure. But I
He told
don't
me to
drink the
drop his
stuff
story.
Leary sells.
But you're not
What's
about
wrong
to do
with
that.
Oh, no.
I've seen what it
I
can
am
do.
going to find out what's behind these killings. You know what I
I think I know what you saw on the castle wall.
It's a conspiracy.
I know what I
The
saw.
police
I
in
don't
3
think so.
different countries have kept
It
very
was the
quiet
kid,
about the
McGuire.
murders. The press don't connect
He
them
was
at
up
all.
on the wall last
They
Tuesday
blame
night.
them on
He
political,
thought you were the
religious,
Phantom
or
of Lochmarne.
militant minority extremism.
Oh,
That covers just about everyone.
I'll see you later.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta.
The man's
a millionaire
arm lay across the
pharmaceutical
towel,
baron.
preventing
He
me
made
from
his
moving.
money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and
Top of the
dieting.
morning to you.
Imagine it. Millions of housewives literally
I
spitting
beg
the
your
butts
pardon.
off.
Well,
Was he
that's what you
killed for his
Irish
money?
say, isn't it?
No.
Do you want something?
He had
Or you
no
just
living
flaunting your
teeth,
xenophobia?
and his
Well,
fortune went to
I
the
was
orphanage
trying to
for
be
his
sociable.
The only witness
Is
in
it
the
a
case
room
was
you're
his
after?
Filipino au pair. She swears he was
No,
led to
thank
his
you.
death
I don't
by
plan
a
to stay too long.
snowman.
Who does? Most folk take one look
May
at
I use your
Lochmarne
telephone?
and jump
Sure,
back on the
go
bus.
ahead.
Thanks. I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your
Hello?
first pint
Who
of
is this?
real ale?
Hi.
Well,
My
I
name
guess
is
so.
George Stobart.
What's real
You
ale
don't know
anyhow?
me.
Correct,
Beer
Mr. Stubber.
that's grown from natural
What can I do?
ingredients to
Well,
traditional methods.
I'm trying to trace
It shouldn't
one
be
of your
kept under
customers.
pressure.
Could I
Or
maybe
refrigerated.
come over and talk
And
to you?
finally,
No.
it should
No,
have a good
that's
body
not possible.
and
Oh, okay.
distinctive
Forget it.
character.
Listen,
In other words,
all I
it's
want
flat
is a
and
name.
worn with bits
What are you
and-
talking
and
about?
it takes you
Who are you
for-
working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth
I'm sorry,
and
but
justice.
the pump appears to be
Thank
broken.
God.
I could fix
I
it
thought
for
you
you.
were the police.
I don't
There
think
are
so.
innocent
This is a
lives
job
at
for
stake,
a
Mr.
professional
Todrick.
electrician.
Lives
Well,
that
at
you
least the
could
glass
save.
washer is still working.
You're collecting for charity,
It's
yes?
not my idea.
No, I'm not. All I want from
It
you
just so
is
happens
information.
I'm an electrician.
Go
Check out
on.
my credentials.
I'm listening.
Well, no.
What do you know
Isn't
about the
that
clown who
marvelous?
bombed the Café de la Chandelle Verte?
I don't
Here's
have
the
no
house,
idea what you're
bedeviled
talking
with
about.
faulty wiring of a wayward nature.
But I
Here's
think
you,
you know more
an
than you
electric
say.
man.
I don't know who
with
you
a
be,
little
but
plastic
sure I am.
card
You don't
to
know what
prove
you're
it.
talking about.
I don't know if you're saying that
I
to
still
me
want to see what you
don't
can
know
do
what I
before
mean,
I let
but-
you touch
Oh,
me beer
this is
pumps.
ridiculous.
You can make a start on the glass
Quit
washer.
playing games with me, Todrick.
I tell you, I know nothing about no clown.
Do you know a guy called Plantar?
No, I never heard of him.
When you finish that,
Thanks for nothing,
will you take a look at the
Todrick.
pumps?
I found this false nose in the sewer. There was nothing
Hey,
physically
what
wrong with the
is
glass
that?
washer. The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
The man's arm
I'll check
lay-
it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Why don't you put it on, George?
As the man
No
raised his
way
arm
am I
to
wearing
it, I
this.
snatched
I
the
look
towel
really
away.
stupid. Besides, he might have had a cold.
I was about to reach for the pump when I came to my senses. A rash move like that in a strange country
I'd better be
with
going.
strange
Thanks for
customs
coming, Monsieur
could be
Stobart.
my last.
Call me George, and it was my pleasure. If I track down the clown, I'll let you know.
Almost as if he'd sensed my intentions, the old derelict snatched the wire from the table. As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire. I used all my knowledge of electrical
Excuse me.
engineering to examine
Bonjour,
the plug.
monsieur.
Seemed
Please,
fine to me.
come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you
I
ever
replaced
dress
the
up when you
fuse
were
with
a
a piece of
child?
wire.
Not that I remember.
I knew it was dangerous,
Incredible! You'll
but
be
I
telling
was
me next
desperate
that
enough
you
to
never
disregard
shared your elder
everything I
sister's
knew about
lingerie.
standard
I don't
safety
have a
precautions.
sister, and I
Excuse
think
me,
I'm
Mr. Leary.
silly in a brassiere.
I fixed your glass
I
washer,
just
no
need
problem.
some information.
Bingo!
Of course.
And
How
a
can I
blessing
help
to
you?
all the saints. A free half pint to that man.
I'm looking for a
out the
man
house.
who hired
Now,
a clown costume.
could you take a look at the beer
Oui,
pump?
monsieur.
I guess
I
so,
do not
but
see
I'm not
how
making
I
any
can
promises. Don't you
You
keep a
can't fix
record
them.
of
I'd
costumes
have a
that you
riot
rented
on my
out?
hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
But
That's right.
Well, then I'd
You'll
like to
find a
check the
flashlight
records.
down
Give
there
me the
somewhere.
names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
impossible. There are too many.
The clown I'm looking for is a cold-blooded killer. Give me his name, and I'll see he's brought to
What a dumb
justice.
place
I'd
to store a
help you
flashlight.
if I could.
A dark
but
cellar.
You
The
can't
only way I was gonna
expect
find
me to
anything
remember
down there was to
all my
feel around.
customers. You see, the clown costume is our most popular line, monsieur. On average, we hire
I
out
pushed
more
the lever
than
and heard the
30
grating
clown
of
suits
metal,
a week.
but
You'll have
nothing
to
appeared
give
to
me
happen.
more to go by. A description, perhaps?
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Have you heard of a man named Plantar?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
Do you recognize this cloth?
Oui.
I
You do?
lifted the trap
Mais
door,
oui,
and an
I served
overpowering
a
smell
man
of
wearing a
stale beer
suit
rose
made
from
from
the
the
cellar below.
same
I
material.
looked down
Do
on
you
the
remember his name?
stone-tiled floor.
No.
Way too far to jump.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell
Excuse
that.
me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
La crème
I didn't see
de la
anything.
crème
What about the
of
boy?
He doesn't know anything either.
Accoutrement.
Have
The
you
kid,
sold any of it
well,
recently?
You know how it is
Yes,
in these
2
rural
cans.
communities. Not enough genes to go
Thanks for
around.
your help, buddy.
I prayed
My
McGuire had the
pleasure,
sense to keep his
monsieur.
mouth shut.
Allow me to shake you by the
Was the guy
hand.
hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have
What are you
taken
trying
it
to
the
do,
police.
kill me?
Of
You
course.
did not find it amusing?
Thank
I
you.
never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Then I noticed a flash of light.
Hi,
Something
it's me
sparkling
again.
beneath the open trap door.
So I see.
It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone.
May I use
As
your
I
telephone?
held it aloft,
Sure, go
I
ahead.
realized
Thanks.
the fascination it could command. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Hello?
Whatever
Who
you
is
was
this?
looking for.
Mr. Todrick?
Yeah, listen, McGuire.
It's you again.
I
What
want
now?
you to keep this to yourself.
Did you know that one of your
problemo.
customers was a part-time
Just chuck
clown?
us up a crate of
The guy
lager.
feels happy
No
with
way,
his funny
you're not
nose
old
and
enough.
custard down his
We can
pants. What's
sell
the
it
problem?
and make some cash.
Forget
Shall
it,
I
kid.
tell you what
I
happened
couldn't
to
betray
Plantar?
Mr. Leary's
How he was
trust.
killed in
Oh, I
cold
could.
blood?
For
I
sure.
told you. I
That
never
old
heard of
misery
Plantar.
guts deserves it.
I
If you
expect
want to do me a
Plantar's
favor,
family man.
keep a lookout
Don't you?
for that
In
guy
their
in the
little
suit.
apartment, Madame
Okay.
Plantar is cooking the supper,
But it'll cost you a
listening for
packet
the
of
familiar
chips.
sound of her husband's key.
Oh,
in the
and
door.
shout if you see
Junior
that
is
Ferrari.
waiting for his daddy to come home from work. He can't wait to show him the merit marks he earned in school today. Only tonight, Monsieur Plantar won't be coming home. You forgot the puppy. Huh? The faithful puppy dog, waiting for the sound of his master's voice. Well, maybe they don't have a dog. What do you think? I don't know, Plantar. I never heard of Plantar. None of this has anything to do with me. Thanks for nothing, Todrick.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese green politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium. He was committed
Hi,
to dismantling
do you speak
Japan's
English?
automobile
Well, no,
industry.
I can't see him gaining much support with a
An
loony
implication
like
of
that.
cognizance
Yamada
shrouded in
was a man of
denial.
vision.
A pretty
He
poser
was
of a
years ahead of
paradox
his time.
indeed.
I gave him
You
the
say
look
so.
I'd perfected when
How
I
did
was
he die?
12 and was going
At
to
the
be the
end,
greatest hypnotist of
or
all
should I
time.
say,
It was a
little
killer.
of a
Are you
giant
attempting to
emperor
hypnotize
penguin.
me, or is it the constipation you're
A
suffering?
snowman,
I
a
was a
penguin,
little out of practice.
and now a clown. You know, I hate to admit it,
Good
but this is
A
scary.
book. It's a
And I'll tell you
passport
what,
to a world of
I won't be
fantasy
accepting
and
any invitations to
imagination.
costume
Yeah, what's the
parties.
title?
I don't blame you
Creative
for being
Shelfing
scared.
for Beginners.
I am
The
too.
1978.
This story could be my only chance of a big break.
Or a premature
What's
death.
so cool about home improvement?
There's nothing like
guy at the
it.
novelty
resinous
shop gave me
autumnal
this.
aroma
What is
of
it?
seasoned wood,
A hand buzzer.
the rhythmic
You put it in
rasp
your
of the
hand
day.
and give people
Ah,
electric shocks.
No wonder
Why?
our Lord came to
It's a
earth
gag,
as the
a
son
practical
of a humble
joke.
carpenter.
If you ever
I bet
use
he
it
was a
on me,
wizard
I'll
with a
break your
chisel
arm.
and a length
Okay,
of
okay. I get the picture. Surely the betrayal of Christ
I'd better be
adopted
going.
family
Thanks
as
for
humble
coming,
artisans
Monsieur
is a
Stobart.
symbolic metaphor.
Call me George,
I don't know
and
about
it was
that,
my pleasure.
but I know they
if
were
I track down the
carpenters.
clown, I'll let you
Haven't
know.
you read the book?
Well, no. But I have seen the greatest story ever told, and I don't recall Jesus putting up any shelves. What can you tell me about the castle?
Not much, I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Who built the castle?
Mad Phelan, the first lord of Lochmarne. Well, I say lord, but actually he was little more than a village chieftain. He built his castle from the remains of the Templar preceptory.
Do you mind if I climb up your haystack to get into the castle?
What?
Sergeant
It'll break
Moe?
your
Please
stupid
go
neck
away,
for
monsieur.
sure. Do you think I stand by and see your
I've
brains
tracked down
dashed
the
out?
clown's I'd be very careful,
Is
and
that
I
so,
promise not to
monsieur?
sue.
You
Yeah.
won't get the chance.
There's a man
before
down
I'm
the
here to
street
stop
who
you.
saw him crawling out of the sewer.
Dressed
Did you
as
happen
a
to
clown?
see a red sports car
No,
down
he
on
changed
the road?
into ordinary clothes by then.
So, how did he know it was the clown?
He didn't.
Sure, it
but
was an
all
awful
the
noise.
clues
A
add up.
sports car.
Little children can
A
add
Ferrari,
up,
to be
but
exact.
I wouldn't let them manage
Racing
my
car.
bank account.
And what was it doing here?
I
The
know
poor
the
fella
identity of the
must
dead
have
guy.
been lost.
His name was Plantar.
Is
The
that
driver
so?
of the Ferrari
You
was
knew him,
involved
did
in
you?
an accident.
No,
Is
but
that so?
You know everything
Yeah.
there is to know
He knocked
about
somebody
him
down outside
soon
the
enough.
bar. I'm trying to be helpful.
How could a thing
The
like
best
that
way you
He
can
was
help us
traveling
is to
fast.
go
So
home,
fast,
monsieur.
He ran right under the car.
what is
I mean,
Ross
the
doing
car
with that
was
girl?
traveling.
He is
fast.
giving
But
her
you'd
the
have
once
thought the
over,
idiot could have
as
heard
you
it coming.
Americans say.
Huh?
Once he
Maybe
gets
you
his
know
teeth
the
into
guy
a
who was hit
case,
by the Ferrari.
nothing will
His
shake
name is
him
Sean
off.
Fitzgerald.
Was he
Oh,
serious
I know
about all
him,
that
all right.
psycho
That's
detective
me
stuff?
nephew.
Of course.
The idiot responsible
Inspector
for the
Rosso is a
smashing of my
pioneer
Descartes.
and a
Was he
visionary.
killed by
His
the car?
revolutionary
Oh,
methods,
no.
once
But
perfected,
he has been
may
abducted.
change the face
Well,
of law
that's a
enforcement
relief.
forever.
I can't
Aren't
see
you
it
going to
taking
look
off
for
in
your
LA.
nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too
Would you
late.
like to shake
Well,
my
you could
hand,
report
Sergeant?
the matter to the
Not
police.
while I'm on duty,
Better
monsieur.
not.
The
Besides,
gesture could
what
be
could they do?
misconstrued.
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the
I
one
found this
bicycle
red nose
between
in the
them.
sewer.
In a
What were you
question
doing
of
down
superior
there?
acceleration,
Fishing for clues.
I put me
That's where
money
the
on
clown
the
went.
Ferrari.
You still insist you saw
I
a
think
clown,
you ought to
monsieur?
know exactly
course.
what Sean has
And
gotten
this
himself
novelty
into.
nose.
I'm not
proves
sure
it.
I
It
want
will
to
take
know.
more than a
But you're his
plastic
uncle.
proboscis to
His own
convince
flesh and
Inspector
blood.
Rosso.
You're right, but
You don't
what can
want
I
this
do?
as evidence.
If I'm not here to
Certainly
guard
not,
it, some
monsieur.
idiot might try to climb the haystack.
I believe this
What
material
a
came
moral
from the clown's clothing.
If you are
Stay
right,
here
monsieur,
and
then the
guard
clown
this
must
potentially
be
lethal
an Englishman.
agricultural
Well, how do you figure that?
Or to go off
Only
in
the
search
English
of
would
the
wear a
prodigal
suit
nephew,
made from
the
material
very
like
man
that.
responsible
Don't you
for
like the
said
English?
hazard.
It is not so
If it
much
needs
a
some
question
thinking
of
about,
liking,
Why,
rather
there's no
one of
problem.
taste. They
You're
have
right.
none.
Why didn't I think of it before?
Do you
We'll
recognize this
demolish
dirty
the
tissue?
haystack.
No, monsieur, I do not.
You
I
don't
found
have
his
to
sewer.
demolish the haystack
Perhaps
to
it
go
would be
look
better
for
if
Sean.
you put it
I'll
back there.
stay here.
No
in this
way.
place. This could be
And
an
warn
important
anyone
clue who's silly
If
enough
you
to
say
climb
so,
it.
monsieur.
Marvelous. I think I should start.
See you later,
making
Sergeant.
wines in the bar.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay.
Hi there.
A stack of
Remember
hay
me?
stopped, short at the
Remember
top of
me,
the wall.
Inspector?
Even if I stretched
Have you
as far
found
as I
me?
could, the wall was out of
Who?
reach. What I
The man
needed
in
was
the
a
sewer,
slice or
of
two of
course.
Alice's Wonderland.
I'm sifting through the evidence.
Rather you than me, monsieur. So, when you are not
I pushed my
exploring
fingers into the
sewers,
narrow crack.
what do you
It went back several
I
inches
take a lot
into
of
the wall.
showers.
Oh, very good, monsieur. A policeman with a sense of humor.
I
Do you know the
inserted
waitress
end
at
of
the
the lifting
cafe?
key in the mortarless crack
You
and gave it a
can't
firm
suspect
shove.
her,
It
surely.
remained lodged
Just
in the
answer
wall,
the question,
jutting out to
please.
form a step.
Yes, I know her. Quite well. She came to work at the cafe 6, 7 months. I look forward all week to her lip she gives me when she visits.
Really? So you'd miss her if she wasn't there?
Then oui. Where else would I find to cut my toenails?
What does
Hey,
this
Billy.
tissue mean to you?
The animal
Nothing,
fixed on me
monsieur,
with an
it's,
evil glare. Behind the malice
What
and
on
resentment,
earth possessed you to
there was
show
a
it to
cool
me?
intelligence.
Someone had
How you doing,
emptied
boy?
their nostrils
I felt as
into it.
threatened as I'd been by the
That's
assassin and his
theatrical
goons in
reason.
Paris.
Shake my hand. Go on, shake it.
You're joking, aren't you? Not I will be talking about down the sewer.
I have to be going.
Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare.
monsieur? How's your girlfriend?
She's not my girlfriend.
Maybe not yet. But I see your paths entwined in the future.
I doubt it. I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
As I dipped my fingers into the
told
soft
you.
white powder,
She's proud.
I realized what it was.
So proud if you
Plaster
ask
of
me.
Paris. I'd used it
What
in
can you tell me about
kindergarten
this material?
to make casts
It's a
of
very
animal
expensive
paw
piece of
prints.
cloth, monsieur.
The only object
What can
on
you
the
tell me
table
about
which
this
interested
tissue?
me
Nothing?
was a small sack.
Would you like to shake my hand?
No, I wouldn't. I can see the future, remember?
Do you recognize this nose?
No, monsieur.
The statue was too
What
heavy
other
to
flowers
lift.
do you have?
It overbalanced
Dahlias?
into the sand.
What do they signify?
Insecurity.
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall
As
yellow
I
ones?
swung the stone
Those are
upright,
iris.
I noticed it had
Acclaimed
left a pattern of holes in the sand.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her
I
throat.
placed my fingers in the
How
5
does this
impressions
fortune-telling
left by the
routine
fallen
work?
stone.
If I knew that,
It was
I wouldn't
weird.
be selling
They
flowers
fit
for
perfectly.
a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver
I
dish.
sprinkled the plaster
I
on the
just happen
sand
to be
until the
one of
holes were
lucky
filled.
ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur.
I smoothed the plaster
Strange
level with the
thing
sand.
is, I can't
was my
seem
first
to
experience
see
of home
myself
improvement.
in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
I squeezed the towel as hard as I could.
figure it's a kind
but it
of
was barely
natural
damp.
safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Hi, it's me again.
So I see.
I found a piece of... When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, George, it's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh no?
Take a close look at his left cheek.
A scar. In the shape of a horseshoe.
Oh, a crescent.
The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water.
Tell me more about yourself.
Oh, there is not much to tell.
Well, how did you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought my first camera. I was 8 and my parents had just split up.
I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it
Did you
with
live with
water.
your father?
Yes, my mother went off with her new boyfriend.
I shut
sold
off the
mine.
faucet as tight as I
Papa was
could,
all I needed.
but it kept
4
on
years
dripping.
later, he died in a plane crash.
Ah, I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted I should study art. That's why I went to college.
Did you learn about photography at college?
Oh, God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the time I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Do you have a boyfriend?
That's none of your business.
I'm going back out to search for that clown.
Where?
I could go back to the costume shop, or maybe I should go look for Wilson.
Let me know if you find anything.
I will.
I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened.
Excuse me,
Oui, monsieur?
do you recognize this man?
The trickle of water was
oui,
quickly
he was
absorbed
here
by
this
the
morning.
plaster.
He chose 2 costumes. Bozo
I
the
used
clown
the solid piece of
and
plaster from the
Seamus the
sand.
pixie.
Underneath,
Pixie?
it had
Very
formed a
smart.
perfect copy
Green
of the statue.
silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly
Thanks
into
for
the
your help,
five
buddy.
matching
My
sockets.
pleasure, monsieur.
There was a soft thud, then silence.
Salut, George. What news?
I've been to the costume shop.
Yeah, I like it. What are you supposed to be? So, where did you
I
stay
didn't
last
hire a
night?
costume. These are my clothes, and you know
I got
it.
to drinking
Did you
with
ask
Doyle
about
and a
the
couple of the
clown?
guys.
That
Yeah.
explains why you look
He
so
used
ill
the
today.
name
Did you get any sleep at all?
He hired 2
Not
costumes.
much.
The
I
clown
had to share
and the
the
pixie.
room with
Then
another
we're one
guy.
jump ahead. Did he snow?
How do you make
Hardly.
that out?
He
was
probably
dead.
plans to
And
use the
he
pixie
said
suit
Pete
next
Graham
time he
had killed.
disappears.
Oh,
Without
God,
a
don't
trace.
let it be me. I
But
don't deserve
my
to die at
visit
the
wasn't
hands
a
of a
complete
pixie.
waste of time.
Don't be silly, George. That won't happen.
Oh no?
No. Because every
Pete
time you
Graham's
see a
gem?
pixie, you're going to run like hell.
The Templar's gem. Whoever Jacques
What are you
Marquet
doing
is,
to help trace
he's
the
in for
killer
this
clown?
appointment.
Research,
Marquet?
George.
He's the guy who should have
You have a
collected
copy
the
of
gem
the
from
clown's
Fitzgerald.
I have a
What is your
telephone
plan?
and lots of
I want to
contacts.
find out
Oh,
who, what,
well,
or
did you
where
find anything
Maupassant
useful?
was.
Not
All I've
yet.
got to go by
I'm
is
employing
the
my
name
first
and a
and most
picture of a
useful
hanged
weapon.
man.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking?
Do you want to look after the gem?
No,
Have you
George.
found out any more about
I'd
the
be too
murders?
tempted
Well,
to
it may
say.
be nothing, but both the clown's victims
I found this
visited Paris
matchbook
earlier
in the
this
killer's
year.
hotel
When?
room.
The
It's from the
second week
Club
of July.
Element.
They were
Never
both
heard of
here
it.
at the same time.
Is there
they meet?
anything written inside it?
No.
No,
But I
what were
can't
you
imagine
expecting?
it was
If this
coincidence.
was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name
May I use
or
your
an
telephone?
address. Sure,
Let's
go ahead.
There
Thanks.
aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's
man
your
I'm
problem,
looking for
sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless
You
junk
bought a suit
like
from
little
me,
boys.
Remember? You
Mr.
never know when
Khan.
useless junk might come in handy.
I remember him. Yes, I...
Let's take another look at the
this
manuscript.
hotel. The hotel. I don't remember the room.
That's the gem that Pico found in Lochmarne.
The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. I can't sit here all day. Now much as I'd like to. Do you know the Hotel
Don't
Ubu?
forget to look for Lopino at the
Yes, I
Clown
do.
Museum.
That's
And
where the
why
clown
don't you
stays.
leave Oslo at
Good work, George.
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? See you later. Shopping. a
Where
trip
are you
to
going
laundromat. I could go
Just
hang
take
out at
care
the
of
Hotel
yourself.
Ubu.
Watch out for Khan, George.
Don't worry, I will.
Excuse me.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart,
Yes?
n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of
You
such
know a man
data
by the name
is
of
part of my
Khan?
duty as
No,
a
I
gendarme.
know. It's
That
very
is our
important
crime
I
is
get to
fought
see him, and
through
I
attention
told
to detail,
I don't know.
intuition.
Yes, sure.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be
Is Rosso
fine?
here?
No,
Yes,
I
he
really
is.
am looking
You wish
for
to
a
speak to
clown.
him?
There are no clowns here except
Yes, I
you.
do.
One moment, monsieur.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No. That name means nothing.
Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Forget it.
Did he say what it was
Excuse me?
about?
No, monsieur.
Yeah?
Very well.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
I've seen daytime television.
Hi,
that was
Inspector.
funnier.
Remember me?
I love it when
But
the
of
little
course,
guys
Mr.
get hyped.
Stobart.
That figures.
My mind is a
Custard
well-ordered
pie,
faculty.
hose pipe down a
A
pants,
mental
then
classification
smack,
system
a
that's
plank
the
in the
envy
kisser.
of the Bibliothèque Nationale.
You ever meet
No
a guy
tricks,
called
mark you,
Plantown?
monsieur.
No, I
Just
ain't.
exercise.
You missed your chance.
Just as our
If you're
muscles
quick,
waste
you'll
through
catch him at the
inactivity,
coroners.
so our minds decay.
Do you happen to know a guy named
But there is no
Khan?
need.
That ain't
If
nobody
only
I
people would
know.
learn to
I'm
exercise
sorry to be
their
a
wits
burden on your
daily.
brain.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked.
Shake my hand.
He was pompous and patronizing,
Oh,
but
rats.
he had style.
Eh bien.
See you later.
If you called about
Not
the
if you
bombing,
see me
you're
fight.
too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
I have been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether, invisible to all but the
Hi there,
possessor
ma'am.
of a highly developed and
Well,
receptive mind.
hello.
I'm
What
impressed.
can I do
Can you
for
bend
you?
spoons, too?
I'm looking for a man.
I didn't
You
think a man of your
disappoint me,
obvious
my dear.
intelligence would
For
stoop
one
to mock.
foolish moment,
I'm
I
not
thought...
mocking. I've had
Never
personal
mind.
experience of the power
Aren't
of
you
mind.
going to tell me
I used to
your
get
name?
ignored at parties.
George
Until I read
Stobart,
a
man.
book that changed my life.
Really?
I once had a
What was it
stable boy
called?
called George.
Hypnotism for
I
fun
am
and profit.
Lady
He
Piano.
looked at me as if I'd farted at
The
a
common
funeral.
reaction is
The
to
power
kneel
of
suffer.
mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
I mean, you're an
Did you
honest
find
to
out
God
the
aristocrat?
ID of the guy who was
Oh,
killed
I
in the
don't
explosion?
know about that.
I already
Few of
knew
my
who he
ancestors
was.
are honest, not even to God.
I heard that the
I
bomb
can
victim's
trace my
name was
family back to the
Plantown.
Normans.
Your sources
But
are
don't let that
reliable.
intimidate you,
He was a
George.
big shot at the treasury,
Beneath
wasn't
that
he?
impressive
Maybe that's why you've been
pedigree,
taken
I'm
off the
just
case.
I'm
flesh
sorry,
and
monsieur.
blood.
I cannot comment.
The blood may be blue, but the
Do you know
flesh
a pair
is the
of
plump
thugs called
beef of
Flap
old
and
England,
Guido?
so to speak.
I have known those
You
two
appear
since they
distracted,
graduated from
George.
special
Is there any
school.
way I can help you?
Flap is a nasty piece of work. But Guido is the
I'm
real
looking for a
brains of
murderer.
the partnership.
Good
Where
heavens!
did you hear of them?
You're
I met them out
private
front of the Hotel
detective.
Ubu. That's correct, ma'am.
What's the
Don't you
term
want to know
your
what I found out
Americans
about the
use?
killer?
It's
I told
on the
you,
tip
monsieur,
of
the
my
case
tongue.
is closed.
I believe what you're
I
thinking
have washed
of is
my hands
Dick.
of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue
Precisely.
my investigations without your help.
No.
Are you here in
You
Paris
must
on
forget the
vacation?
business of the clown
No, darling,
completely.
I'm on holiday.
Go back to being an
I needed to
ordinary
get away
tourist,
after our
Stobart.
dispute.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one. Have you
I'm
heard
not.
of
He was my
Professor
husband.
Pegram, the archaeologist?
Molly Pigram.
Do you recognize the man in
second
this
son of
photograph?
Lord Barclay
My
Pigram.
God, it's him!
I don't know.
That's Merlin!
I only read about him in a magazine. Everything I loved about the English. The
efficacy
way he was
of the
totally
ability.
deranged.
What
Merlin?
has he done this
You mean
time?
King Arthur's wizard?
Good
He made an
heavens,
important
no.
archaeological find.
Monsieur
in Ireland.
Merlin is a fellow guest.
Ever heard of a guy called
I have to go.
Jacques Marquet?
Marquet. I know the name well. He has a record for suspected blackmail, kidnapping, arson, and art theft.
An all-rounder, huh? How come he's on the loose?
His bravado is matched only by the courtroom skills of his attorney.
Excusez-moi,
Do you know
monsieur.
Pegram well?
I have connections
You are
with the
trying to
family,
steal
but I
that
wouldn't
key.
say I knew him at all.
No. Is his name really Molly?
Of course not. That was the nickname he was given at school. All his friends and
I want
acquaintances
some
know him as
information.
Molly.
Who are you? The police?
So long,
I'm
Inspector.
conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home. No.
Excuse me.
What do you want now?
Do you have a guest by the name of Khan? Have you
No,
heard of a man
monsieur.
called
Perhaps you would care to
Yes.
check the register.
He used to be known as the Mole of
About
Mama.
the key
I
has
heard
some
he's been
food there.
hospitalized,
Oui,
probably
monsieur.
by
Which
one of
room
his
is it for?
rivals.
Number 21.
Which
That
hospital
hospital
was
was
Marquet taken
No.
to?
The Hagenware
guests
Clinic
checked out
in the
this
Avenue
morning.
des Hérissons.
Do you
Why
recognize
was
the
Marquet
man known as the
photographed?
Mole of Montmartre?
Yes, monsieur.
Because
that
he
man
lived
is
in
one of
Montmartre,
our guests.
I suppose.
What
Yeah,
name?
but why the mole?
I don't know.
cannot tell you that.
Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
Can you tell me which room the man in the photograph is?
See you later, Sergeant.
Oh, no, monsieur. That information is confidential.
Would it make a difference if I told you the guy in the photo was a murderer?
We are accustomed to catering for celebrities, monsieur. Movie stars, politicians, royalty,
The old building managed to retain some of its
here.
original branding, but the modern show you this photograph of Facebook?
Yes, you did, monsieur.
Medieval saint. The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his left cheek.
Raymond, I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. I'm looking for a man who dresses like... Excuse me?
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
You say so? Is this the Hagenmeyer Clinic? Do you know a man
That's
named
correct.
Clentau? I thought it was in a garden center.
Oh, the plants.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
They were my idea. A little greenery to evoke the spirit of nature. How may it help you?
Excuse me. Didn't I
I'm
see
here to
your
see
picture
Jacques
in the news?
Marquet.
Oh, yes.
You're that
Are you
Nobel
related to our
Prize
client,
winner
sir?
from some unpronounceable Eastern European
Yeah,
state.
I'm his
Yes,
long
that
lost
is me
brother.
in
A
photo.
brother half
I
his
don't
age
wanna
with a
worry
different
you,
name
but-
and an American accent.
Yeah. You know,
People always
mysterious
say that.
phone calls,
I blame
letters
Mom.
made up of
We were
headlines
separated
covering the newspapers.
I don't
After
know
a
what
mix-up
you're
in
talking
the
about.
nursery at the Oakland shopping mall.
I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all
Do you
my
recognize this man?
I guess
He calls
not.
himself Khan.
Yes.
Look at this ID pass.
So you're Merlin. Marquet's been asking for you.
For me?
Yes. He was shouting your name when they brought him in here. Now, let me see. He was on Ward B12, as I recall.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now? He's being transferred to... Oh, dear. He's on
Would you
Ward
distract the
J2.
clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act? Nurse Grendel's ward.
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
What's so bad about Nurse Grendel?
May I
She
ask?
runs
Do you
that
wish to
ward
gain
like a
access
South
to an
American
empty
prison.
room?
Keeping
Do
a
you plan to
well-disciplined
support-
ward isn't a
No,
crime,
ma'am.
is it?
Scouts honor? Well,
I was never in the Boy
In the
Scouts,
discipline
ma'am.
and punishment stakes, she whipped the butt off the Marquis de Sade. Everything. I mean everything.
fine
is
way
done
for
to
a boy
strict
to get
routine.
licked into
6 o'clock
shape.
alarm call. Now tell me, 6:10 bowel movement.
Why do
and
you
woe
want to get
betide
into that
anyone
room?
who doesn't have a result.
I'm a detective.
Those
We
patients
do
of
these
hers
things.
are like Pavlov's
Now you're being
dogs.
ridiculous.
She sounds like
If
a
you
real
can't supply
nightmare.
me with a plausible
And
explanation,
then
I'm not
some.
interested.
If Nurse Grendel is
really
that bad,
need
how
that
come the
key
authorities
back.
tolerate
I'm
her?
not convinced
like
I should
part of the
help you,
furniture.
darling.
Oh, you mean she's been here a long time?
No.
The man you know as
I mean,
Merlin
there's
is
not
a
man in
fake.
his clinic who hasn't
What do you
sprawled
mean,
out on her.
sweetie?
He's a
I
murderer.
was beginning to get the
He also
picture.
uses the name
This woman was
Khan
jealous. With
I
a big
am
green
shocked.
capital J.
She.
How do I find
I
Nurse
took him to be a
Grendel's ward?
gentleman.
Down the corridor on the
Amenable
left. Turn right
You
at
know,
the senior consultant's washroom.
I'd rather like to
Right
assist
again
you
at the
in stitching
executive
him
coffee
up.
lounge. Very left past the administrator's sauna.
Did you know there's
And
a
turn left
gangster
at
out
the
front?
end.
What
That's
makes you think he's a
J2.
gangster?
The Italian suit and the
luck.
bulge in his pocket?
I
Has
know plenty
Marquet
of men
been
with
visited
Italian
by a
suits
man
and
in a
bulges in
clown
their pockets.
costume?
That
Doesn't
no.
necessarily make
You
him
haven't
gangster.
seen a man in disguise?
Well,
When did you last see Merlin?
Theodore the bear.
It was no more than
he
an
comes
hour
every
ago.
Thursday to
He
entertain
came
the
downstairs
children.
and spoke to that
Personally,
clerk
I think
chappie.
he scares me half
Something
to death
past
in that
hand.
crummy old
I couldn't
bear
see
suit.
what exactly.
If I was stuck
A
on my back
briefcase?
with tubes in
No,
every
smaller
orifice,
than
he's the
that.
last person I'd
A
want
bundle
to
of
see.
papers, perhaps.
Has
The clerk
Marquet
put it in
had
the
a
hotel
visit
safe
from a
and
pair
Merlin
of
went out.
gangsters?
I should hope not.
I'm sorry to hear
Can you
about your
describe
husband's
them?
death.
You
a
wouldn't
thin
be if
guy
you
who
knew
looks
him,
like
my
a
dear.
weasel, and his friend,
It
the
gave me the
gorilla.
opportunity
Sounds
to
as
take
they
a
escaped from the
well-deserved
zoo.
holiday. Daphne suggested a change
Thanks
of
for your
scene.
help, ma'am.
Harry.
You're welcome.
A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corners. It was an industrial polishing
That
machine
was
with an odd-looking guy
until
in
last
tow.
night.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
Hey now!
I wonder what they
You can't
were.
go in there.
Obviously
How come?
something of great
I'm responsible
importance.
for the contents of that
Yeah.
cupboard.
I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is.
I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't.
Maybe
Are
the
you
face
going
of
to
the
search his
unaccountably
room?
happy domestic
get
made
in
me
there, I would.
unduly suspicious.
And that's
I mean,
why you want
I
to
knew
see
it was
it.
only my imagination.
Yes, ma'am.
But the water
I
tasted...
shouldn't think my feminine
well,
charms would be much
peculiar.
use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick.
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered,
I say! You there! Flunky!
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
Carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22
Dr. Stobart
was
at your
Merlin.
service.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Aha! Just the man. You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bernie, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
Do your own babysitting, Gramps. Who do you think you are, anyhow?
I am Felix Hagenmeyer.
And may I say what an honor it is to meet you in person, sir. You are
The
on
bed
my
was
medical
freshly made,
wall of fame.
and the crisp white
Right up
sheets
there
told me
with
nothing about the killer's
Pasteur and
habits.
Leary. I look on it as a privilege, no, an honor, to look after your nephew, sir.
There was
He
nothing
is
in the pockets
fresh
of the
out
pants.
of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence
So long,
beside
Hagenmeyer.
his bed. I had the kind
afternoon,
of feeling
Doctor.
in my
Oh,
stomach
hi. Is
that
this
would usually
Ward
send me
J2?
running to the
Yes,
bathroom.
sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. Well, who's first?
Monsieur Croquet in bed 2.
What's his problem?
He's been complaining of loss of consciousness. You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Dr. Stobart.
Hello, Doctor.
The nurse told me you keep losing consciousness.
That's right. I've had the problem as long as I can remember. It's a real out-of-body experience. Like death, but not so conclusive.
I see. How long does it last?
Just a fraction of a second, and then I recover.
I might not have been a doctor when I found formulating a diagnosis in the pockets of the pants. This guy, the first, was an ordinary
I know
matchbook.
exactly what you mean.
No matches, no
It's
clues.
known in
The
the
second
medical
was a
field
pass card
as-
which read Thomas Merlin,
Is it
Gruber
serious?
Electronics
Of course it
Corporation.
isn't serious. It's perfectly natural.
But just think, 2 seconds every minute. Why, that's almost half an hour every day.
2 weeks out of every year spent in total darkness.
I don't have time to listen to this baloney. Well, goodbye and good luck.
Thanks, Doc.
What now, monsieur?
I'd like to retrieve something from
Could
your
you
safe.
take a look at the client in bed?
Oui, monsieur.
His name is Eric
What's his problem?
He's
like
delirious. He just now came out of theater. He's recovering from major surgery.
I'll have him up and about before you can say, Lazarus, get out of your bed and walk.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
Hello?
You won't find
Anybody
any more
home?
unique ID than
Who
my
are you?
scar.
I'm
My
sorry.
name is Dr.
I
Stillbar,
must insist
and I'm
on a
here
more
to steer you down the
traditional
rocky road to
identification.
recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I
Does this pass mean
Your
anything to
problem
you?
is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified
That's right.
doctor?
Merlin the
You
murderer.
better believe it.
I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot
See you later.
betray his confidence, no matter
Hey,
what
Benoit.
you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe I can live with that.
There's no need to
Thanks for
shout.
your help, buddy.
What do you want?
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do
I
you
figured the
want
lady
to
at the
do?
keys wouldn't
Well,
appreciate a duet
keep it
with a
safe
musical
until I-
illiterate like me.
Think of something. Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George.
Doctor.
What can I do for you
What is it?
now?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They
I
couldn't
can't
really
take
miss.
a
It
satisfactory
was
reading while
just
you're
as I'd
excited
always
like this.
imagined it
I'll
should
come
be.
back later.
The intimacy of candlelight.
Hey, Benoit.
Romantic music tinkling across the room. And then, a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner.
Yes, sir.
Those tight trousers.
Are you ready with that pressure
He was
gauge?
the man I've been
I'm ready
waiting
to
for
bounce.
all my life.
I'm
What do
glad
you
he
want me
finally
to
turned
do
up
with it?
after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't
Use
to
it
be.
on Eric Sopmarsh.
He was merely
Okay.
toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am.
Brother, you the
I
nipple.
found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces.
Marquet?
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared
have?
of. Follow me, George!
What are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lochmarne gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friends here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did. But
What's the
Not me.
problem?
I never
isn't
inhaled.
Merlin.
A mere academic detail given the package.
In my place.
That is against the law.
Yeah.
I happen
You
to be
can
a
hardly
justice
make
of
the
the
trip
peace,
to
you
Ireland
silly
in your
man.
condition.
I am the
What
law.
should I do with the
If
gem?
he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
Master.
One moment, please.
Tell him that I have found the tripod.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself as much as Greenham Common.
You have it?
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
But it's being taken care of.
Voilà, monsieur. Le
I
manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
couple of stooges with a flair
Thanks.
for petty crime.
Would that be
An Anglo-American
Flack
alliance
Guido
that
by any
actually
chance?
The clerk had given me a
Joseph,
tightly rolled
we
sheet
met.
of parchment.
What about
I
the
decided not
Hashashin?
to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Is more likely to have followed Klausner. He'll stop at nothing to prevent the reforging of the sword.
And that's bad, is it?
As for Klausner, he is gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
As a theory about the
I wanted my
location
shoes.
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquis. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course. Was no
Monsieur Marquis is my patient.
But I
couldn't let it
my
fall
elders
into
to
the
hear
hands of
that.
the goons
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Oh, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
Just a minute, he's an imposter. What's your problem?
No
the door's
problem.
locked. Help me, officer. What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Stand back, monsieur.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apology.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
I found Jacques Marquet.
Let him go, Fleck.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah. Killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan.
They were going to
He got away out the window. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment. Have you ever heard of the Hashi Ashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil.
You're just not going to
had
believe
wild,
what
staring
I found.
eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor
It's
again.
not another part of the clown's costume,
Do you think the
is it?
assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
It's a medieval manuscript. Sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible.
I guess I'd better go back and talk to
from
that
Planta?
weirdo.
Which
it could
one,
be.
Rousseau
Which
or
means
Sergeant Mou?
it's worth enough to kill
are you
for.
referring to Andre?
I'll let you work it out.
Look there, 2 guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of 2 knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced.
You have left it very late, monsieur.
Late for what?
Anything?
Safe transit
I am closing the museum soon. You wouldn't like to get locked in. I can tell you, not in this gallery.
Why not?
It is haunted, monsieur.
You don't believe in ghosts, surely.
Oh,
yes, they never asked how many enemies.
7 years ago, a
Just
lad
where they
managed
were.
to hide.
And as the years went by,
It made a bet with his friends, I suppose. When I found him in the morning, he was cold as ice and stiff as a bone.
They fell foul
What
of
was
the
the
King
cause
of
of
France.
death?
They
They said
rounded
it
them
was
up and turned them
a
over to
brain
the Inquisition.
tumor.
Thousands of Templars
On
were
his
subject
face
to
was
torture
a
and
look of
confessed
stark,
heresy.
desperate terror,
At the
such
end of
as
the
I have
Inquisition,
never
there
seen
wasn't
before.
much they wouldn't confess
Scary.
to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure
I found
of
this
the Knights
gem
Templar
at a
was
medieval
never
site
found.
in Ireland.
That means nothing to me, monsieur.
How did you manage to get this job?
I had the right qualifications. A military
Jeez.
manner.
So the treasure is
Wicked
hidden,
shoes
waiting to be discovered?
and
If there ever was a
irrational
treasure,
hatred
it's been
of
lost for
children.
600 years. Anyway,
The sign
We're
on the
supposed to be
tripod
investigating a
says
serial
it
killer,
was
not a
found
medieval
at a
treasure
Templar
trove.
preceptory.
Maybe
It
that's
does-
what the clown
Yeah.
and his accomplices
It
are
doesn't
after.
mention John D.
Maybe
at
this
all.
manuscript
Most
is the key.
remiss.
You'd better
You don't
leave
know
it here for
anything about the
safekeeping.
tripod,
Think
do you?
about it, George.
No, I don't.
One guy's
I never
already
had
died
much
for
of
it,
a
as
start
he
in
said
life, you
himself.
see.
Besides,
I owed little
that parchment
education
is
I gave
fragile.
to my
Okay,
uncle.
okay, I'm
He was
convinced.
an
You
optician,
keep hold of it.
But he also doubled as the village school teacher.
Let's take another
He
look
taught
at the
me
manuscript.
alphabet. Wait, 19 letters of it. The
Let's
bottom
face
row of the
it, we
chart
need
was
help, George.
too small even
Someone
for
who
him
knows
to read.
about these things.
So he left
Who do you
them
suggest?
out.
Indiana Jones? Why don't you start over
I
and
know
enroll
a guy
for
who
adult
specializes
education?
in medieval
You know,
studies.
I never
His
thought of
name
that.
is
Do you
Lobino.
think?
Huh.
If I
Some
studied
stuffy old
and
fossil who
did
gets
all
horny
my
over
homework,
ancient relics, I suppose.
I could be a professor
Far
of
from
history.
it.
At your
Andre
age?
isn't the
Dream
stereotypical
on.
professor you have in mind.
Thanks. Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Kroon Museum. I'll give you the address.
There's a woman looking at
The
her
rod turns
reflection in a
smoothly,
mirror,
and the
but
window above me
reflection has
opened.
3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said mirror, mirror on the wall, wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. A
It
knight
is
with a
clothing
crystal
time,
ball.
Monsieur
There's
Lobino.
something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Already?
Yes,
There
but it's
just
written
aren't
in
enough
Latin.
hours in the day.
Her
More than enough for
disciplinum
me.
mea
I can't wait to get home and
Luck.
put my feet up.
Eh
videbi.
bien,
By my
see you tomorrow.
teachings,
Good night.
you will see the light.
Monsieur.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and shit.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur,
Hey,
but he was
Guido!
only half bull.
Look at this!
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull.
Quit fooling around,
Even if it
you
was the
moron.
bottom half.
What's that
Get your
object
ass
between
over
them?
here
It
and bring
looks
the
like a
flash.
gem on top of a tripod. Maybe I'll check out the Kroon Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it
Who's
useful,
there?
George.
Let's get out of here!
And when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor George.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those 2 crooks.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
but the killer
Oui,
got
monsieur?
away with the tripod.
Are you Lobino?
No, he
Oh,
didn't.
no.
He's not the
Are
only
you
one who can
mistaking
dress
me
up in
for
costume.
him?
You
No.
mean
I am the deputy.
it was you
But
who stole
Lobino
the
does work
tripod?
here.
Oh,
What?
hell, Nico.
I wouldn't go
I
so
could have been
far
shot.
as to call
Those
it
dogs are
the
more likely to shit
studied
their
here
own
most
feet.
days, but
I
as you
just
can
wish
see
you'd told
for
me your
yourself.
plans.
Not
We're supposed to be in
today.
this together. And how come you dressed up like
Do you
a
know anything about
pantomime
medieval
cat?
manuscripts?
Don't
Not
search
me, monsieur.
Georgie, please.
I am no scholar. Though people
rats.
often mistake me for one.
And don't call
it
me
is the
Georgie.
uniform, I
Oh, I
guess.
really thought
This
you'd
is the
be
clothes.
pleased.
They are impressed.
After all,
And they ask you to park their cars?
They asked me to
Aren't
party.
you going to try and
No, no,
put
no.
in the gem
They
on the
assume.
tripod?
I am
I
an
guess
authority
so.
on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is,
Nothing
I
happened.
am no scholar.
The
Not
gem
like
fits
Monsieur
perfectly,
Lobino.
but what does that prove? Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
Maybe the tripod has to be in a
Thanks
certain
for
location.
your help. There's nothing on the manuscript to indicate where, though, is there? I have to go.
Already?
In the case,
You
was
only
a
just
spindly
arrived.
tripod. Time and
Blackened
tide
with
wait
age
for
and
no
pitted
man.
with rust.
Okay,
It
I'll
was
see you later.
identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland.
It had been found in Lochmarne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. Pardon me?
Oui, monsieur?
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist?
I beg your pardon.
Escapologists
Are you Andre
use ropes,
Lochmarne?
chains, and handcuffs. Not
That's me.
tripods.
You want my
whatever he
autograph?
was,
No,
that is
I
the
was
tripod he
told
used
you may
in
be
his
able to help me.
experiments.
Help?
My name is George Stobart.
What kind of experiments
did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Well, okay.
The usual.
What's with the long
Didn't
face?
you study chemistry?
Haven't you heard?
Yeah, but
The
we skipped
tripod
over
was stolen.
Scientology.
No kidding.
Can I
just
take a
don't
closer
get
look at the tripod?
So many other
What?
treasures.
Get
and
it
these
out of
choose
the
the
case.
tripod.
A modern-day alchemist,
That
perhaps?
tripod is
Who knows?
protected by a
There's no shortage of
sophisticated
crazies
surveillance
in
system.
Paris.
How sophisticated?
A painfully
I'd
loud
like your opinion
alarm
on
bell.
a medieval manuscript.
How
is the alarm
Do you have
bell
it with you?
triggered? No, it's
By
too
the
fragile.
slightest
And
pressure
besides,
on
there are
or
certain
movement
people who
of
stop at
any
nothing to
part
get
of
their
the
hands
case
on it.
wherein
Intriguing.
that tripod is
Do you have a
situated.
copy of the text?
There isn't much. It
Only
strikes
a
me
few
that to
Latin
call your alarm
phrases.
system
I was
sophisticated is
help decipher
well,
the pictures.
stretching the truth a
Without
little.
seeing the manuscript,
never
that's a
failed
tall
yet.
order.
Just
The
tell me one
sophistication
thing.
is in its
What does the image of
simplicity.
two men riding on the same horse suggest
Thanks
to you?
for your Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
The manuscript is definitely the one I'm interested in.
In Paris?
Yeah, I'm not far from here. Check it out.
Well, just give me the address and I'll come round and pick it.
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I should check with her first.
A female friend?
Yeah, she's a woman. Maybe it was my imagination, but I noticed a predatory look in his eye. Suddenly, this friendly historian had turned into the big bad wolf. This friend, who has the manuscript?
Oui, the anonymous girlfriend.
She lives at 361 Rue Jarry.
Ah, I know it well. I'll drop by. Just as soon as I can.
Have you ever heard of the Hashashin?
Why, yes. It was a radical Muslim sect whose name became synonymous with murder. It was formed in 11th century Persia, shortly before the
In the
Crusades.
museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Lochmarne.
Yes.
I have
They
heard
gave a
of
new
Lochmarne.
word to our language.
I read an article about the
Assassini.
castle.
The
Take a look for
assassin.
yourself.
How did the assassins get their name?
From the legend surrounding the secrets of their initiation rites.
A popular gossip
A young
magazine.
man who
You
sought to
read that
join the
rubbish?
sect was
No,
given
I
hashish
write
until he
it.
drifted into dreams. He awoke to find himself in a fabulous garden with everything he could wish for. The freshest water,
Professor
the most delicious
Nigel
food,
Pegram,
the choicest hash, and the most
excavating the medieval
delectable
castle
women
at
imaginable.
Lochmarne. That's
Cool.
strange. Do you have the address?
What?
He
I
resigned
haven't
his
finished
chair
the
at
story.
Durham University.
There was
in
a
order
price
to
to
devote
pay
his
for
time
this
to the
taste of
excavation.
paradise.
Not only that, wouldn't you just know it? But he
The
canceled
young
the filming
man
of a
would
fourth
wake the next
series
day
of
to
his
find
popular
himself back in
television
the real
program.
world. He was told that he'd been given a glimpse of the heaven reserved for holy martyrs. A heaven he would enjoy for eternity if he was willing to join
His
the
site at
Hashashin.
Lochmarne must be awful important to him.
He's a
Does
professor
the name
of history. They're all
Montfaucon
cuckoo.
mean anything
All
to
the
you?
same.
I'd like
Sure,
to talk to this
it
Professor
was the most
Pegram.
grisly
How do you feel
spectacle
about
in
a trip
Paris
to Ireland?
until the revolution.
Disappointed.
A public toilet?
That I won't be going.
Montfaucon
I want to
was the
follow
place
up
of
the Belote.
execution for many
If you really
thousands.
think Pegram's dam is important, why don't you visit Lochmarne?
With row
On my
upon
own?
row of arches,
I'm not so
each
sure about
one
that.
framing
Where
a
is
grim
Ireland exactly?
exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on
What do you
creaking
know about
ropes
Professor
while the
Pegram?
crows
I've seen a
devoured
television
them.
program, Pegram's Past.
That explains
He's written
the
a book.
image of the hanged
The
man.
Crusader families of
I found a
Ireland.
reference
I'll
to
bet
one of the
he'd be
songs
in
in Ireland,
manuscript.
in a village called Lochmarne. Let's take another look at them.
That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived. Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
The second week of July?
Maybe. Yes, it was, just before Bastille Day.
So Pegram was in Paris at the same time as the other victims.
Pardon? Victims of what?
Nothing. Just thinking aloud. Where was the site of Montfaucon?
To the northeast, near the Canal Saint-Martin, but there's nothing there now. The old gibbet was torn down during the Revolution.
Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez. How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later as the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, Andre.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
How did the assassins operate?
Well, as I explained, the new recruits would be only too willing to die for the cause. They'd be instructed in the use of the dagger, poisons, and disguise. Then, the Grand Master of the sect would name an enemy of Allah.
And they'd stop at nothing to eliminate that enemy.
You got it. They were fearless and deadly.
Does the cult of the assassins still exist?
Take a look around at the world today. You tell me.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
It's me again.
Hi, George.
Look, about that tripod.
I hope you're still not angry with me.
Oh no, not really. That was some feat. Abseiling through the skylight, I mean.
I haven't done anything like that since I was at school.
You were great. But next time you plan a stunt like that, please warn me.
Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh yeah. I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the Knight's crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. Lobineau explained who the Hashashin were.
Yeah?
The cult of the assassins.
Oh, boy!
Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the tripod we borrowed from the museum. Have you found out any more about the Knights Templar?
Yes, I have. The guy responsible for their downfall was Philippe IV, the King of France, otherwise known as Philippe le Bel. Well, he is known to history as Philippe the Fair, but I doubt if the Templars called him that. I'm sure André will tell you all about him.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Excuse me, officer.
And how may I help you?
Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
Hey, you with the balls.
Oui?
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu! A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crowned heads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult. Still, it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not. Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello again, officer.
Hello again, monsieur.
What do you think of the juggler?
Ah, he is excellent, most watchable.
But he's blocking the thoroughfare and obstructing traffic.
So? He is amusing. The traffic isn't. If he wants to block it, who am I to say no?
You're a cop.
Ah, oui. So I am. Ah, well.
So you're not going to do anything about this guy?
No.
He probably doesn't even have a license.
Ah, a license. This I had not considered.
So what are you going to do?
The instant I return to the station, I shall check.
Return to the station? Why not just ask him?
And spoil his concentration? What kind of a barbarian do you take me for?
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
Look, a red nose.
Ah, you are a clown.
A clown?
No. If so, you would be a much better jongleur.
For a moment, an idea capered around near the spotlight of my attention, but fell down the pothole of abstraction before I could focus on it. Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello again, officer.
Hello again, monsieur.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Ah, you are a clown.
Do I look like a clown?
No, although you juggle like one. Now, if I'd known you were a clown, it would have been amusing, and not a humiliation for you.
What do you mean?
Who ever heard of a plainclothes clown?
He had a point. So you're saying that if I juggle badly with a red nose, I'd be the king of comedy. But if I juggle badly without it...
You look like a pathetic loon. Oui, monsieur, you have it.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
I'd like to have another try at juggling, please.
You have gone on a crash course, perhaps?
No, I just had an insight into presentation.
Huh?
Allow me to demonstrate. The balls, please.
If you insist on completing your humiliation, monsieur.
Okay, now for my secret weapon. The juggler was speechless with rage. You could have mistaken him for a mime, and without a word he collected his balls and left in a fury. Hey! You forgot one of your balls! Hey! But he didn't hear. Better still, deprived of his entertainment, the gendarme decided maybe he ought to do some policing for a change. I couldn't open it with my bare hands. On the boat was a winching machine. The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. Hey! That's hollow! It was time for some brutal destruction. Close up, I could see the plaster was thinner where I'd broken through, and behind it were some cogs and a lever. Here goes. Hey, cool! Inside the hole, I could see one of the cogs had come loose and jammed the mechanism solid. It would take a blacksmith or an engineer to do anything with that.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies,
began our darkness. In the end will be a beginning. An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report. The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. The millennium is almost upon us, and everything is in place for the rise of our new order. Almost. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarne gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course, my apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, acclaimed. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition. The new millennium will belong to us. The next time that we meet, it will be to become the princes of this world!
There was a large circle marked out on the floor with a stump in the middle. Around the circle I could see words inlaid into the stone. I noticed 3 small notches around the edge of the stump's top. The light, falling from above, struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays, and each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the seal, I could read M-A-R-I-B, Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant. Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria. But they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria.
Then the Neo-Templars are ahead of us. Klausner beat me to it.
You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay, what about the tripod?
I'll send it back to André, anonymously.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.